Hi, and welcome all San Jose hockey fans, heated rivalry fans. We have a great episode today. We have guest Kat Toffoli from the Never Offsides podcast, of course, partner of one Tyler Toffoli, a Sharks favorite, and unofficial Sharks mom. Kat Toffoli on to talk about heated rivalry. So that's a great segment. And then, of course, we break down this last week of the Sharks, the Florida Panthers game, Kiefer Sherwood with the usual crew after our chat with Kat. So stick around. And before we get to that, just a quick word from our sponsor, BringHockeyBack.net. Remember, by supporting Bring Hockey Back, you support this program, which is free. So just give them your love, peruse around their site. You know, they've got a luminous mouse pad that I've been eyeing, and a couple of other great swag, some jerseys, a baby bottle, some great hats, some trending Shark swag, and also team jerseys, etc. And don't forget, you can use our promo code San Jose Hockey now to get 15% off anything from BringHockeyBack.net. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get started.
Welcoming a very, very special guest. We have Kat Toffoli, host of the Never Offside podcast with Julie Petrie. She's worked for the Dodgers since, 2009 to about 2017, right? In a variety of roles. You gotta look it up. She helped organize like the celebrity softball game, just a whole bunch of different jobs for the Dodgers. She's an unofficial Sharks team mom. Is that right? I think that's fair, right? You are the queen of that, right? That's about right? Okay.
Yeah, team mom, I'll take it.
Okay. Michael Misa's landlord. And she's here to talk about heated rivalries. I was listening to Never Offside, and Kat was saying that a couple weeks ago that she had watched it, but Julie, I guess, is still catching up on like the series finale of Game of Thrones or something, Breaking Bad, very behind on her show watching. So she won't get to heated rivalry until like 2029. So I thought, hey, this would be a great outlet to have Kat on to talk about heated rivalry. And follow Kat B. Toffoli on both Twitter and Insta. Of course, you guys mostly would probably already follow her on Insta, and you can see how social media savvy she is. And I want to say too that you got Kat B. Toffoli on both Twitter, Insta. That handle that shows how social media savvy you have been from the beginning. Welcome, Kat.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's funny. Julie, like you said, she's got 4 boys and a clothing line. So pop culture is not really her thing, but it's mine. So yeah, I have a little more time for it.
Before we dive into heated rivalry talk, we were actually supposed to talk with Kat on Thursday, but she was making dinner for the Sharks. So who came over for dinner?
That time it ended up just being Michael, Misa, my live-in, and Sam Dickinson, who Sam comes over quite a bit for dinner. He's lovely. He basically lives here as well, I like to say. So those two are my little kids I cook for often. So I love them very much.
That's great that you put up Sam, because we were teasing Dan Boyle, who is also co-host of the show. And we're like, Dan, why don't you have Sam live with you? And we couldn't talk Dan into it, though. So I guess it falls on you guys. So you guys doing a good job there.
Well, he's great. So
I'm curious what you made, Kat.
Just chicken parm and a salad. Beautiful. Just easy, very hockey player type of meal, especially the night before a game. So it was fun. We had a nice time. They were just kind of sitting on the couch watching hockey as I cook, and it's kind of our thing here. So
that's fun.
Yeah.
I think you had talked about it before, where Michael Misa just like puts ketchup on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like a
chicken
real
farm, right?
Is he Swedish?
Yeah. No, it's very Canadian actually. That's a very Canadian thing. They're famous for their ketchup chips and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's pretty wild. I actually did not offer him ketchup for his chicken parm.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but he loves it. It's just his favorite thing. He puts it on literally everything. I think one of the first times we had family dinner, he asked for ketchup, and I think we just had like grilled chicken and a salad or something. And I was like, for what? Like, what do you need ketchup for? And, that's kind of, it's funny. And he owns it though. So
Mhm.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I gotta ask him about it. I guess that's famous among the Swedes too. Like Eric Carlson is famous for putting ketchup on his spaghetti. Actually, Alex Wemberg also does that too. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gross.
I think when we were in LA, Adrian Kempe had a couple funny things like that too. I've actually seen a couple of the Olympics, NHL teasing the Olympics on Instagram and stuff. They've been doing funny things about like ketchup and all that stuff too. So funny.
Yeah. So, well, like, clearly it worked though. They, the dinner, they came out swinging the next day and got that win. So
Yeah.
it was the
Yeah.
chicken parm.
That's a
Yeah,
great
we
pass
were-
by
Crawling down.
Michael. Yeah. The Pablo Regenda.
We
More
like
ketchup and I
success.
can climb out of beer league.
We like success stories after a family dinner. That's always a good thing. So
Well, Kat, I wanted to talk a little bit about your career because it's really actually impressive that like you went to USC, Annenberg. Were you kind of planning to be a career in media, maybe like TV broadcast? Was that kind of direction you were going in? And just how did you end up working for the Dodgers?
yeah, so I went to school first on a full ride for softball to George Washington University on the East Coast, and then I realized that I wanted to get into sports broadcasting, anything sports. So I transferred to USC Annenberg, which is kind of the mecca for sports broadcasting and marketing and all that stuff. And I realized at the end of my time at USC, which I covered the football team. I traveled with the water polo team. I kind of realized that I didn't really want to do that anymore. I wanted to work for a sports team. And I was very, very, very lucky to get my first job with the Dodgers as an assistant in just the broadcast department. After interning a bunch. So it wasn't just random. Like I interned a lot in school too. But I was very fortunate to get that job working alongside Vin Scully, which was just the craziest experience. And then my role kind of grew because I was pretty connected with people in LA and obviously the Dodgers and celebrities is kind of a thing. So they kind of started leaning on me for any of the celebrity outreach. Anytime you saw like a first pitch, anytime really like any, I don't know, a movie's coming out and somebody's starring in it. Let's get him for a first pitch. And, it's kind of like joint promotion, whatever. So that kind of became my job. And then when Guggenheim took over and Magic Johnson came in, my role really skyrocketed with the celebrity stuff, which was very cool. It just was a really fun job, and I got to run. My favorite part was probably running all the players' charity events with the celebrities. So, like for example, like Clayton Kershaw. And I worked very much on his celebrity ping pong tournament. So what I would do I'd get all the celebrities to come and I'd pair them with a certain player on the team who would make the most sense, like personality wise, and who would, the most media for the charity, So that was kind of my job. So it was very fun. And I still kind of do that sometimes. So.
So very pop culture influenced into the job as well.
I was going to say my niche is pop culture and sports. That's kind of always been my niche. I'm just very connected in both worlds. And so marrying those two together is just my passion and just weirdly what I guess I'm good at professionally. So yeah, it's very fun. So.
What kind of convinced you to get out of covering a team independently? And this is me saying, help me, Kat. I don't want to be doing this either. I'm just joking.
Like, what do you mean? Like in getting out of the broadcast world? Into...
Yeah. Into like, I want to work for a team instead of working for Fox or working for the LA Times or whatever.
I don't know. I just don't think I enjoyed it as much as I did working and being part of the team, I guess. Because I had interned a ton with NBC, some teams, and I think I just realized at the end that I also didn't think I was that good at it, to be honest. There were a couple times I was on the sideline at USC, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm asking right now, and and that's just me being quite
That
honest.
happens to me too.
Yeah, like I have no idea what to say right now, and I didn't love that, and it's just I'll be vulnerable about that. And working for a team, I just get along with people so well, and it just especially in sports, so it was just a lot easier for me, I guess, and I was much more confident in that role than I was in the broadcast role. So yeah.
So, Kat, now that you're back in the Bay, are you still a Dodgers fan, or if you want back to the Giants? Just get this out here.
I grew up a Giants fan, a huge Giants fan. Actually, my parents had season tickets growing up. So, very big Giants fan. When I started working for the Dodgers, that, some of my friends from home didn't love that. And it's funny, Tommy Lasorda I was very close to Tommy. And he got word that I was a Giants fan, and he, in front of the entire staff almost, he knighted me like a dog. Like he made
With a
like
baseball
me,
bat? Just
yeah, he made me switch allegiances. It was pretty funny. I have those photos. Like he was like, Kat, you're our family now, and made me switch allegiances and kind of swear my new allegiance to the
Did it
fan.
work?
Yeah, I love. Yeah, Tommy. He's just was my most favorite person in the world. So yes, I am still a Dodger fan. However, I have been very much enjoying going back to the ballpark here, Oracle, right? It's called Oracle now, right?
They
still
change the
think
name
of
all the time. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's fun going back as like kid me fan to Giants games now. But I'm still Dodgers are my family forever. So
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fair.
Did you used to go to Candlestick and it was, super windy and cold and all that? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I definitely did. I actually can't believe that's not there anymore. That's something
Yeah.
Weird.
I
I know.
told Tyler that the other day. We were driving up to the city, and I was like, why is that not there anymore? That's weird. It's crazy. That was an iconic place. So
Yeah.
I think we're probably going to get into heated rivalry talk in just in a minute. I want to ask you, how do you as like in your role as unofficial team mom, how have you seen this team like come together? Do you feel like this season feels a little different for you as it does for us? Because we mentioned it a couple of times on our podcast how different the season kind of feels.
I'm not gonna lie. Last night, when Macklin was doing his post game interview to the fans, I cried. I shed a tear.
Yeah.
Because it was beautiful to see how loud it was. It wasn't even, fans obviously left because the game was over, but it was still so loud, and they are so close. As you see them every day. They're all best friends, and it's a beautiful chemistry. So I couldn't love this team more. So, and I feel like the fans agree.
100%. Yeah, it feels like it's just turning over a new leaf in a way that feels exciting. Like it felt like a team for the first time as a Sharks fan since 2019. Really, like that's how long it's been since it's felt like this cohesive to me, at least.
Yeah, crazy.
You guys have been a big part of that too with all the hosting. It feels like you guys are mostly hosting like the team Halloween parties and things like that.
We do a lot of the holidays. Just because that's what I've always done. We did that a lot on the Kings, and I learned that a lot from like the Quicks on the Kings. They always did that for a lot of the younger guys. So, and Jackie and I are really close, so we kind of always, I learned from them, and then we started doing it too. Even just like in LA, just if no one had anywhere to go on Christmas, like let's make it a dinner party. Like why not? So I think I just really enjoy it. That's just kind of, I think hosting people is our love language. Ty and I are very, we like hanging with our friends. So, and I like cooking, and we like hosting. So It's been fun.
What's yeah, you've been, you've seen Tyler with a lot of, I'm sure, close knit teams, the Kings, the Canadians when they go to the final there. This Sharks team, what is maybe different, or I guess what made you tear up last night?
I mean, I love all the guys here, and Macklin's just so great. So seeing him, his interview and the fans, it just, how can you not get emotional? It's sports, like.
Yeah.
So what do I see with this team from all the past ones? Again, it's just the chemistry. It's just that they genuinely love each other. There's really not much more to it. I think that they have their funny things that they do. Just the shark tooth necklace, like I've been hearing that air horn like recently, like when they're announcing the player of the game, like it's just
You see that videos.
They're funny, and they are what you see, and it's just I think they're just a really great group. And well, if that didn't answer the question, that is how like the Montreal team couldn't be closer and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know that Montreal team we had Cole, who was just the funniest rookie ever, and you could kind of just relate that here too. So yeah.
Now answers the question. Great. So okay, let's get into heated rivalry talk. Okay, a warning to the audience that this is spoiler heavy. We're going to talk all about the show and all about the plot. So if you haven't seen it, it's on HBO Max. It is a great show. Whatever you heard about it, I think it's an excellent show, and I think we all recommend it. So let's just get into it. All right. So that's your last warning, guys. So we're going to tell everything that happened in show. No, spoiler heavy. So
that is, you gotta do that. So
yep.
Yeah, and it's also very bingeable. We're going to talk about Gary Bettman in a second, but so bingeable. I watched it 2 days ago because to prepare for this, and watched it in a day. It was like over in 5 hours, 6 hours. I just was surprised after watching it, like that he would have binged it and like sat down for like 6 hours and watched the whole thing. But I don't know what Gary's schedule's like, so maybe he's got the time.
It's a good show, and like I can see it. Like I watched it in many parts myself, but that's because I'm always working or whatever, and so like I don't know, maybe on a long, maybe on a flight somewhere, he just wrapped it up. But okay.
For some reason, I imagine him just staying up all night, like having ice cream, like a tub of ice cream, just going through the whole thing.
Just full feels, like Gary has got the full feels out. Yeah, he could be.
Yeah.
I mean, Sheng with the viral quote of the year, That was
that just was funny. I just happened to be in DC when he was talking, and that just was like, well.
Yeah, and here's the thing. That got reposted. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Shang, but that got reposted by TMZ, and then you got like no credit. Like it has your name as like on the tweet, but it doesn't say like, oh, Shang
really?
interviewed. Yeah, it's on TMZ, and it's just your video. But
that's the way.
with
That's
your
way of the world. But he didn't answer my question though, like whether or not he's Team Hollander or Rosenau. So
that was that.
He didn't answer that. What are your thoughts on the show, Kat? Just in general, let's get into that. Initial thoughts.
I was thinking about just how it got so popular, especially recently, and like I said, it's getting more popular by the day. I think it did such a great job of humanizing, just humanizing the athletes, and it was just the script was great. It was one of those shows where each end credit, you're like, okay, what's happening next? So I just thought it was very well done. The characters were great.
Do you have a favorite character?
Yes, I do. I really love Rose. I thought that sit down dinner she had with him, where he came out to her and she made him feel so comfortable to where they started laughing and became besties. That scene was very emotional and beautiful. I also love the mom. The mom is just so iconic. She just
Oh,
is,
it's funny.
she's so funny, and I just think she's funny because she's like a hustler for her son in terms of like brands and stuff, um, which is just a funny thing in like a sports world. But then she's just, spoiler alert, the sixth episode, her reaction was just so beautiful. So I love those two characters, I think, the most. Yeah.
That was one of my
I
favorite
wonder about
moments,
the
too.
mom, though. I had the thought about the mom, though, that, and I don't know if you guys have, like, I guess, like, read more, like, the future seasons or whatever, but, like, I wonder why Shane from the beginning was, I guess, reticent to reveal that to the mom, because that's not really mentioned in the first 6 episodes. Like why he wouldn't be open with her in the beginning. Like, you understand why Ilya is not going to tell his father, the Russian, just the attitude toward LGBT in Russia, that he's not going to say anything. But so I just wonder. It's not a critical thing. It's just like that's maybe a future plot point to kind of pull at.
I think that's.
She apologized about
that's
that.
exactly right.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, she did. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's where the apology came from. Was like, hey, because this is why I also like the mom cat, and it was like I like that character arc where she seems hyper business focused and like financial focused, and there was a moment where before she reveals like how comfortable she with it and how they embrace it. I thought there might be some reluctancy or be like, we need to hide it. But then she's like, no, she's like the first one on the table. Like, no, you can't live like that. And that moment was so powerful. Like, I think that was one of the most emotional parts for me through the whole show is like how the mom just became mom again. Yeah. And I really love that scene. And I think, Sheng, I think just my observation of, or speculation to be was like, why Hollander sort of hit it was like, he was like, I just want to make him happy. I want to like focus on hockey. I just want to get through this. And then she's like just pressing that stuff. And I think there's a moment where she forgot that she like, because she even said with the husband that they had like a inclination that he was gay much earlier, but they just didn't say anything. And they were more focused on the same things. And they sort of lost sight of him as a person.
Yeah,
I guess I can kind of speak to that, like as like also growing up. I'm Taiwanese, and my older brother is gay, and he, not for exactly the same reasons, of course, that's a TV show, but he hid it for a long time too, and so I don't know. I should ask him, I guess, why. Kind of the whys of that, but I think Taiwanese Asian kind of culture, that's not necessarily like the thing. It's not a thing that you're open about, like I can say for a long time my mom would still ask him like, hey, I have a girl for you to meet, and he's in his 30s and 40s and she's still saying that to him, and my mom doesn't mean badly by that, but yeah, so I do think there's a little bit more of a, if I'm saying it right, like culturally something that you keep kind of hidden or in the background maybe. So
yeah, more than any like more what I took away from it, more than just like he it felt kind of like he didn't want to disappoint that whole business aspect of his mom and everything. Like, she's trying to get him to be the best, to be the Crosby of the NHL, right? In this fictional world. And like at certain points you can see how much he's pulling back from that as he goes in his career. Like, they're talking about it and he's just often, not paying attention at all, because he knows like if he's this massive secret, and if he like reveals it to them, it's going to completely counteract what she's trying to do in certain ways, just because of the culture of hockey. So he just did it. And I don't think it means that, she felt awful, obviously, but I think that's why he didn't do it.
Can't sell Rolexes, right?
Well, then she went back to her little witty humor though, and she was like, "Oh no, but if brands are smart, they'll."
Oh yeah,
when she's
sure, that's a nice line by her. Nice, yeah.
She's just funny, but she was mom, but then she turned into like next stepmom there, So
woke mom, woke money making mom.
In an instant, she didn't even think about it. She just went for it. So she's iconic, I think. So,
well, Keegan, who is your favorite character, Keegan?
I really liked Ilya. I think Ilya is my favorite character. In a way that I think there's parts of him that I felt were very problematic in the way that he's portrayed in some ways. Not very problematic, but he's a very conflicted character, and he's also got so many, different forces pulling on him that they didn't write him to be very one-dimensional or very, there's just a lot of different angles for him and a lot of different motivations involved in his character, and I thought it was really well done. And in the end, he ends up being the good guy, and you kind of are kind of wondering if he's going to be that good guy, and yeah, he is a good guy. And then same with, I like Kip too, but Kip for more like, he's a I don't know, Kip just the most level-headed dude in that show.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how he stays that level-headed, and he does, and so I like that too.
Is Kip the Jamba Juice guy?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was my favorite too.
Yeah.
Kip's a good character, and just his demand to like not hide the love.
Mhm.
And that's that and the mom scene were my two favorite. When after like he wins the cup and
Yeah.
he calls him out to the ice, like that's such a powerful sequence. Just the emotions of winning the cup and then being like, I can't hide this anymore. And I love Kip's character. I was talking to a friend of mine about it, and he was like, my only problem with Kip though is like, how is he so jacked? He's like studying all the time,
I saw
and then
that.
he's just like, like he's like
Drinking
ripped.
juice all the time.
And I'm like, yeah, he's just juicing all the time. Like he's just standing there, 2-hour drive to the shop or something like that.
Maybe he's like flexing while he's at the juice shop. He's waiting for Scott Hunter to come in. He's just,
This is the HBO Max like fan of like True Blood and Game of Thrones. If the person is completely jacked earlier on in the show, they're having a sex scene later in the show. That's how you know, because they wouldn't have they would not be that jacked unless
it is
later
a good
on.
role on, yeah.
So when he took his
On
shirt off, I
HBO.
was like, okay, I get it.
To Keegan, your point though with
Mhm.
Ilya, the reason I also loved his character art is he has that harsh exterior, and then you start to learn more about his background, his familial
Yeah.
trauma,
Yeah.
and also just like culturally, like sort of Russian dark humor and stoicism, and then that sort of starts to deteriorate. And what you kind of overlook when you watch the show is like it's 10 years. You kind of forget that until they put the year. You're like, oh my god, this is like a 10-year sort of experience, and you see that exterior slowly chip away and deteriorate until like when Hollander's crying at the dinner table when they tell his parents. And he just like puts his head on him and he's like, no, it's okay. Like you're around loved ones. Like that scene is so good. And you start to see this really soft, loving side of him that, again, great character arc.
He was cute in that when he was like, I see where you get it from. Like that was cute.
It was super cute.
I think that scene when when Shane says like, just tell me how you feel, but in Russian. That's such an incredible scene, and it's it says everything. And there's actually a couple other like movies I can think of that do something like that. I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie Once that came out about 10 years ago. It's like a musical, but anyway, like it's a character about like it's a story about a busker, Irish busker, and a Czech immigrant in Ireland. And anyway, she says that basically that she loves him in Czech, but he doesn't understand. So he's like, "What?" And then they move away from that scene. So that little touch there it was nice. But my favorite character, I guess, and it's great that we all have different characters actually, because my favorite character was Scott Hunter, and that's for
Very
me.
Shang answer.
That's when the show took off for me, because the first couple episodes, right? Like you see like you see Ilya and you see Shane, they meet at like, I guess after the draft or draft combine or something like that, right? Basically their draft year, they go 1 and 2, right? In a draft. And they get into this like infatuation, purely physical. They show it almost all, but you actually later on you understand why they show it all, because like they really want to tell you just like it's just like passion and lust, and these guys just want each other, and you feel that passion between the two actors who both did an incredible job. But when you have episode 3 and you see Scott Hunter. He's like a veteran player who it hasn't come out yet, and it's not until he meets the juice guy Kip, but then though he can't, Kip wants a more out there life, and Scott Hunter can't give it to him. And you see that kind of that real, like, and you can imagine like a real NHL player having this issue, not even just NHL player. I mean, Kat, you worked with a lot of baseball players, just any athlete just having this issue. And actually, Kat, I would ask you this. Actually, my next question for you is, did these players, these actors, do they feel like NHL players to you? Did they feel like just guys that you might know, or just did that part feel authentic? Scott Hunter, Ilya, Shane Hollander, and they even had a Marlowe on the show. But anyway,
I mean, looks wise, they nailed like the hockey player as looks, I guess.
Yeah.
But in terms of the characters, yeah, I mean, like him needing his superstitious smoothie every day, like stuff like that. And you watching that arc and that obsession start because he's playing well and like stuff like that. Yeah, I thought they did a really good job with that. Even, like the cottage. It's crazy, but like this is gonna sound weird, but I feel like people that aren't in the hockey world wouldn't like know like the term cottage, because that's that's like where people go in the summer, mostly hockey players, like they go to their cottages. And so seeing like people in Hollywood like being like, oh, like the cottage, and seeing like merch about the cottage, it's just like stuff like that. I think that they did a really good job with like all the authentic to the sport and like insider type of terms and superstitions. And but yeah, I mean the actors themselves looks wise. I mean Scott, he's a Montreal guy too, right? Like so it's like
is he really? Okay.
Yeah, I think he's so yeah, I thought they did a really good job casting, and now those actors are the hottest invite in Hollywood, it seems like, to everything from sporting events to the Olympics to the Oscars, it seems. So yeah, they're doing great. So
I think you touched on a good point too about how hockey's never had an openly gay hockey player come out, but at
NHL
the same time,
NHL,
but at the same time, you have like they did do a good job encapsulating all these other attributes of hockey. I think another scene that, again, I keep going to that dining table scene for some reason with the family, but there's that point where she's like concerned that he's like, "Did you ever let him win?" Talking to Hollander. No, of course not. Like that's such a hockey player thing. Like, no, there's code, like still hockey code. Like, I'll battle for my team. Like there's many like very well poignant exports of hockey culture in the script. And I think Jacob Tierney also worked on. Do you guys remember Afraid of the Dark when we were kids?
Oh my gosh,
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Exactly.
Yes, I still think about that.
Yeah, he did. Are You Afraid of the Dark? And then he hit a bunch of hockey ones, and I was like, this guy's like weirdly related to my life.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
He did. Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah, he was affiliated with Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh,
that's cool.
God.
Isn't that crazy?
It's like a throwback.
That is like another very iconic nostalgia. Wow.
Right?
Somebody knows how to touch little cultural points at the right time. That's good.
My friends and I still send memes about Are You Afraid of the Dark to each other. Yeah. Because it terrified us as children and really stuck with us for our lives. So in my memory as a child, that one's it's a juxtaposition, but that and Hey Dude are like related in my memory bank somehow as opposites. Do you guys remember that show?
Yeah.
You know,
that's funny. Wow. What a crazy, you've got some crazy credits.
Right?
So, Kat, do you know how are NHL players reacting to it? If you've seen anything, and if you haven't, that's okay. But do you know anyone else that's actually watched it? Any players at all? And doubt who they are if they don't want to tell you that they did watch it. But
yeah, no, I have not really spoken because I binged it like by myself, kind of, and I have seen. I saw Charlie McAvoy in Boston had a really nice sentiment about just how it's growing the game and just how it's just done even better things for this game and how appreciative he was of that. So I loved that quote he said. But something I have noticed is the other wives, there's been quite a bit of social media with wives, not just hockey wives, like other sports. Like I saw like a famous tennis wife or something, are really, really, really diving in on their support of it on social media. And I think that's great. And I think that if anything, that just helps more people, see that the support of it, I guess. So yeah, I've seen some cool posts from some other hockey wives about it. Just loving it. Well, I can say that another favorite character I had is the music. They did such a great job with the music. Just because the scenes, it just, if you're going to make scenes even more impactful and emotional and all that stuff, I thought that, like the club scene in Montreal, like that song is just stuck in my head.
Yeah.
Every day it seems like.
Well, they played that yesterday at the Sharks game. That was a tattoo.
Yeah.
The one that's stuck in my head is the main theme song. It's like sunshine. It's like the poor man's Modest Mouse song.
Yeah.
That song's so good. I just been like humming it to my puppy like lately. Like, I don't know why. It just stuck in my head.
That's another thing on social media. Like even if somebody just uses that song, it's kind of a nod to I watched Heated Rivalry and I loved it. So it's kind of the music really is a main character. So it's pretty cool.
I gotta say about the music though, that I grew up watching I'm sure we all did, like a lot of the CW shows, right? And I was a big Smallville fan growing up, and a lot of these shows are like very music kind of centered, like scenes tied around the music and the sadness of the music or whatever, right? And so I the first couple episodes of Heated Rivalry, like it felt like kind of like that kind of show, but a lot more graphic. and then I thought, okay, is it going to rise above it? And so again, that's where that I want to say that if you get into the show and maybe the first couple episodes you're not convinced, get to episode 3 and my man Scott Hunter. That is, like I said, that's when it was resonated with me, at least. I don't know about you guys. I guess that's a good question to ask. Like, did the show get you from the beginning, or was there a scene or episode that was like, okay, this is like, this is fucking legit? And for me, again, it was episode 3. But Kat, did it get you from the beginning, or was there kind of a moment or scene?
Yeah, but I think the scene that really stuck out, like this is what is next, was that club scene in Montreal. I thought that was just such an epic. The whole thing was like so beautifully written. How, like they realized each other were there by seeing the teammates and seeing the other actor,
right.
Like that, like like it was very deep and just a crazy scene. So I feel like that really kicked it off into like, okay, wow, like what is going to happen next, So, but I mean, like I said, I binged it from the beginning and loved it. So, yeah.
Did you have a feeling after you binged it that it was going to, take off like it has, or are you surprised by how much it's taken off here in the U.S.?
Well, that was the thing. I watched it so early, that I thought like some people hadn't heard about it yet. So I really didn't have anyone to like discuss it with yet, I guess.
Yeah.
But I am a pop culture girly. I watch things like I want to see stuff right away. But yeah, no, I like I said, it just keeps getting more and more popular, like every single day. So yeah, I don't know what the delay, I guess, was there, but yeah, I don't know. What about you guys?
Well, one thing I wanted to add to your point of the club scene was just the limited budget of the show. I thought was really interesting because I guess they tried to pitch it originally, and I think it got picked up by a larger production studio like HBO. It wasn't HBO, but it was someone else, I believe, originally. But then the creators were like, they started to dictate the script. And we're like, we can't have, like, I guess they wanted them to like, you don't even kiss until like episode 3. Or something like that.
I saw that somewhere. Yeah.
And then they were like, no, I want creative control over this. So they went to Crave, and Crave is the one who actually funded it, but with a much more limited budget. And that's just the power of great storytelling, right? You can do it with a very limited budget. If you actually watch like in the club scene or other scenes, like off to the side, the sets are like unfinished. and it's actually kind of
Oh, really?
interesting. Yeah, my buddy Rich
Whoa,
pointed
I
that out to me. And I was like, oh my God, like, but you don't notice it because you're so captured by the storyline, the script, and just
Sure.
great storytelling. But there's like little like minimal points in like sets that are like kind of unfinished and rough around the edges, like, which as like a hockey fan, sometimes like when they win the cup and like everyone's like skating, like you see guys that can't skate, you know, and so I felt like early Mighty Ducks, and like guys are like cheering with the cup, but they're not like reaching their cup in an awkward way, and it's like it's just a low budget.
Yeah, my favorite part when they get kept to come down from the stands, and like this is supposed to be like MSG, right? Like this is supposed to be like the mind blowing his party is happening, and there's Kip walks by 3 people who are standing straight up and down and not cheering, not moving, and I'm like, this is the Stanley Cup. Like, you would be going nuts.
I want to do a rewatch just to see these.
Yeah, fine.
Funny out.
Just little bits. But I was like, that guy would be going absolutely insane. That's standing in the crowd there.
All right, I want to ask you, both of you, that what I asked Kat. Keegan, was there a moment or episode or whatever, just like, okay, you know, I'm you know,
I think
fully
I did
engaged in this?
I think what I actually liked a lot about it, and I think the episode 3 was probably the one that I was like, okay, this is
All right,
it's like subverting my expectations. So I'm on your
yeah,
on
exactly.
your
That's
side
what
on
I was
that.
trying to say. That the first couple episodes were good, but they were kind of like in the CW music, like teen show, but a lot more graphic kind of realm, though, a little bit, you know. But
And yeah,
anyway,
I was kind of worried that they would take the realm of like a lot of cliches in their storytelling, and it felt like they didn't, right? Like,
yeah,
you know, there wasn't a big scene where like I don't know, I'm trying to formulate my words here, but it subverted a lot of expectations of what I thought was going to happen. And yeah, it just was like showing a different side of this world that like could theoretically happen, but hasn't or isn't shown because of many different reasons that we'll talk about. But you know, it probably the 3rd episode is when I really was hooked and then wanted to finish the rest of it, and it got better from there. Like it was just you started to see their relationship grow and evolve in a way that was really interesting, and yeah, I like that. So
Z, how about you? Was there kind of a
I think like because we were gonna watch it, so I was like committed from like, hey, we're gonna finish this thing. But
sure?
I think I love creative scripts, but like you, 3 is what really grabbed me. But in the beginning, I was just interested in the fact of the storyline where, you know, all other like sports films that I've seen or sports like shows that I've seen in the fictional sense where there's a romantic interest, it's always heterosexual, and so you can't be competing at the same level in professional sports. So it's so cool to see 2 people on 2 teams and then have the romance. Like that's just such a unique storyline, and that grabs you from rookie camp, right, or training camp or wherever they're at. So I kind of was interested by that because it was such a creative storyline that you just don't get to experience otherwise and is underrepresented. So I really liked the storyline from the get-go. But 3 like hooked me in, and then 5 and 6 were like there's so much emotion you feel with those sequences. So those are the ones that finished it off well. But I'm really. One of the things we posted on Instagram, we had tons of comments on it. People were just spoiling everything from like the books, which kind of sucks because I was looking forward to getting into.
Well,
I
don't read the comments though, so good.
Have you come across the books, Kat?
No, I'm not really a book reader. I'm much more of a show girl. Unfortunately, I always wish I was one of those people that reads a book on her off time.
I'm going to wait for the season 2.
Okay, well, now that I know that, because that's season 2 is everyone's very curious, but I guess I didn't know if you read the books. Wow. Okay.
I know, and they were just spoiling it, and I'm like, oh man, this is
my fiance is like she's a book reader for sure, and she knew about this series I guess already before this, and then like when this came out, she didn't actually watch the movie or watch the show. She was in and out when I was watching it or whatever, but she'd already known that this was like a huge pop culture thing all over TikTok and all over Twitter. She's like, you guys got to cover this on podcast. And I'm like, I've never seen it. I don't think Zubair or Shang have ever seen this. Was months ago.
Yeah.
But
I love a spoiler, actually. That's a
Mhm.
weird thing.
Really?
I love a spoiler. So
Really?
I might go back and read those comments.
Yeah.
But
I
don't
won't-
read the comments about me, though. Please don't read the comments about me. All right?
Well, I'll let you know. But I won't read the book, but I'll go read social media comments for spoilers. So yeah.
There you go. Are you like a trailer watcher? You watching trailers before a movie you know you're going to see?
Oh yeah. No, if
Really?
I prefer if somebody told me what's going to happen. So,
Really?
So
yeah.
funny.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that's why now that I am given the tip that I can know what happens next, I'm going to
Yeah.
Go find out. Yeah.
Go
I think you guys
Yeah.
are psychopaths. People like you are psychopaths.
Well,
I want the mystery, the surprise. I
Same.
don't. I avoid
Same.
trailers. Yeah. So.
no, it's like those movies like what was Jurassic World where it took 4 years in between each one. And you're like, wait, something like that. No, I don't have time for that. So
I guess. Wait, can I
I
spoil?
don't know.
I have
I'm
more
guessing.
info. Kat doesn't care. Can I just?
yeah,
Shangers, you
I
care?
care.
he
Okay.
Yeah, I
all right.
care.
sees
I
it.
actually
Take
care.
out those earphones.
I'm being careful. So all right, I won't say
Yeah.
more, but I did read more in the comments. That's all I'll say.
I'll know in
Don't say
about.
it. Don't say it.
I'll know
Alright.
soon, I guess.
I did want to add to what you said, Kat, that Charlie McAvoy said that I think this is outstanding. I know there's some resistance to all this. It's kind of correlated to me, all the people getting into the Sharks because of Mac and Will. Yeah, a lot of the fans of Heated Rivalry, of Will Mac, they may not end up being hockey fans in the end, but you're going to get maybe 5-10% of them. They're going to stick around. And that's how you get fans. Don't gatekeep. Don't do that. And so anyway, I just wanted to add that thought because this is I think this is just so awesome for the game, and I don't know how that affects me personally, my coverage of the Sharks. I have no idea about that, but I think just the more people that like hockey in some kind of way, some kind of pathway, and then then they actually go to a game and they see what a great game it is, and they get to know some of the personalities, the real personalities, and I think it's terrific. So.
I mean, wasn't there a stat recently how attendance or something has been even I don't know. I would figure you guys would see that. There was a stat that attendance and viewership and stuff has kind of skyrocketed.
Yeah,
recently.
there's maybe just more interest. You can just maybe people are just more interested in hockey. It would be
Yeah.
hilarious though if the Sharks attendance how much it's gone up is because of Heated Rivalry, so and not because of the playoffs or Macklin
Yeah.
Celebrini.
Well, I mean, I think it's a marriage of many things, right? But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think just being chronically online, seeing how many people are talking about hockey right now, especially because of Heated Rivalry, and
Yeah.
I have a bunch of friends in LA that are in the entertainment industry that I've never seen them post about hockey ever, even knowing me and my husband. And
Right.
now they're talking hockey. They're going to hockey games, and it's really cool to see. Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah, the
really
NHL
good for the
just
game.
and even last year with the Four Nations getting a lot of new fans, that was more from just a pure fun hockey perspective. But they're just kind of unintentionally or intentionally just hopefully pulling in new fans to a sport that during COVID looked kind of bleak a little bit.
So Kat, you work for the Dodgers. You obviously know worked with a lot of baseball players. And while most athletes, they'll say publicly that they'd support a gay teammate, I wonder why so few have actually come out. And my theory is, I think it's a common kind of trope to say, oh, it's because of homophobia. But actually, what I think, and I don't know what you think, but you're steeped in the hockey culture, is an athlete just wants to play. They don't want to become, because they know once they become, once they come out, especially if they're a superstar athlete, they're going to become the standard bearer for the movement. And especially in hockey, where in hockey, you're taught basically, no one wants to step out. No one wants to stand out for the most part, right? That's a better or worse thing, right? I mean, the good part is you get these really tight-knit teams, but the bad part is that, yeah, you don't get as much individuality in hockey as you do in other sports. And so this actually reminds me of what Ilya would always say about Shane Hollander, how boring he is. Shane Hollander boring applies to this because again, especially in hockey, you don't want to become like the guy that people go to, like, okay, you're gay, explain everything about that, or again, to be the standard bearer for that. So anyway, that's my theory.
Just to add to that, hockey culture is very much about we, and something like that could make it about the individual, and there's probably some reluctancy to do that. I think that's you don't want to disrupt the team. But, as someone who's been playing hockey as a kid and was seen as an outsider growing up, hockey does need more diversity and more representation for underrepresented communities. And Sharks do that pretty well. Growing up, 40 years ago, hockey was much smaller. And I think when it's like that, there's cultural tropes and things like that make other people feel like outsiders. And then once you're on the inside, it's so loving and welcoming and open. I think hockey is doing a good job being better at embracing more communities and bringing people into hockey. And Heated Rivalry, I think, is a great way to expand to a larger community.
That old Scott Hunter part where he says, like, they're my family. Like, I don't want to, we're trying to win the cup. Like, I want it to be about us winning the cup. Like, maybe that's literally it. It's hard for us to say without having any more examples or any inside knowledge. It's tough to say.
Yeah,
but
I think
guess
also,
okay.
Well, the Sharks, I think the Sharks, I'm very active on Twitter, even if I'm not responding to people, I'm seeing a lot. And I think that the Sharks fans just are such like an open, wonderful fan base. And they're just so, I don't know how to explain it, but with everything, they're so defensive of their guys. They're so open to conversations. They're just so watching them, embrace Heated Rivalry and, discuss it online and everything. It's a nice forum. It's a loving forum. So shout out Sharks fans. You guys are beautiful.
Aw.
I wanted to mention, Zubair, though, to what you said, though, that even though hockey is, like, once you're in it, it can be very wonderful. But I guess there is still that, like, I think to some people it seems like insular. That's what you're kind of alluding to. And so I guess that's what a show like Heated Rivalry does well, because it kind of cuts away from
Correct,
that, right? It cuts that away a little bit, right? So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's the power, again, going back to, like, effective storytelling. Right. Effective storytelling can open up things in a really powerful way. We're close to Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. And at the Birmingham March, when the governor at the time in Alabama unleashed dogs on the people during a peaceful march, JFK was president at the time. And, we remember JFK to be like very liberal, which he was in many senses. But he didn't really make any changes immediately, as this governor was being vicious on, African Americans in a peaceful protest. And it wasn't until Russia released a picture that you guys have probably seen of like a German Shepherd biting a young girl in the back. And then Russia really made it public, just one picture, and was like, look, this is how they treat their own people. And then after that, JFK stepped in and made all sorts of progressive changes, but it wasn't until the power of just one image. And I think that's the power of something like Heated Rivalry. Like, you can open this up to a community with really powerful storytelling. And that's why I think referred to the budget being limited. You don't need a big budget. You don't need anything to open up something. And hockey's really beautiful. And this show in so many ways is just about love and the struggle for love and how hard it could be. And you have cultural tropes and things pushing against it, but love wins. And so connecting those two things is just really beautiful.
I think it's tough to, I'm hopeful that this is like a very good change for hockey in general. We've had some times when the whole Pride tape debacle and all of that stuff, like there was a lot of, and there still is
jerseys,
a lot of,
the
warm up jerseys. There's still a lot of pushback. So it's good for like all the people that are part of the hockey, infrastructure to kind of embrace the change in some way. Like, there's people that are fans that you're missing out on that want to be part of your sport, that if you are just being obtuse to them, they're not going to be part of your sport in the future. So it's just something to think about. I'm just one guy with a podcast.
I just wanted to ask Kat finally that when Tyler signed here, the first thing that you guys did, I guess, publicly as a member of the Sharks family was to go to the Pride Parade in San Jose. So just, personally, as much as you want to share, why was that so important to you that there was, a statement for, what you and Tyler believe in?
Yeah, I mean, when the Sharks asked, that's an automatic yes. It's something that we support, and it was the first time, right? The first time we put on a Sharks jersey, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
was cool, and the fact that meant something, even just the little something that people just means a lot to us. So I think that I'm like an emotional person. I like a teary. So
Yeah, let's go viral, Kat. Cry
No,
away.
No, don't.
No.
Safe space. Safe space.
I don't know. I'm an emotional person, so it
Well.
just the fact that meant something to people, it's a big deal. So it was just us literally walking, with some new friends and meeting. We got to meet like the president for the first time. We got to meet Randy for the first time, Sharky for the first time, and it was it's an easy thing to do, and it was so much fun, and everybody was great. So that was a really fun first introduction to the Sharks world. So it was great. Yeah.
And
wow.
as a Sharks fan, we love Ty. We love Tyler being on the team. He's been such a good mentor for the kids, and I don't know, but it's awesome to see, like, for a while there, again, I keep talking about the dark times of the Sharks, but felt like nobody wanted to come to the Sharks.
Stop it.
But like seeing as somebody try like to choose to come to San Jose to be part of that team is just a very cool thing. So awesome.
You're saying the dark times when Ty was on the Rival too, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
It's
Definitely.
Well, it's ushering the dark times. Yeah.
yeah, so that's a crazy thing too. So that was another nice thing, being welcomed and not people being mad at him for coming from the dark side. So yep.
We even accepted Revo. So, I mean,
Oh, he's
true.
the best.
he's the best. Yeah.
How can you not?
He's honestly
So
talk
good.
about a guy with the young guy, a guy for the young guys. Yes, Ty's awesome, but Revo is just so much fun. So they're just a great group of guys. It's a really great balance. So it's nice to see.
Awesome.
Yeah, I liked the Junior Sharks post of him just being like hockey dad too. At
So
the rink.
sweet.
So cute. Just like
Oh, yeah.
big old Revo, just like fist pumping little kids onto the ice.
Yeah, he's so, even just at, like the holiday skate, he's just so cute with the kids, and gosh, he's just, I love him. It's a nice thing to see someone like that just making everyone laugh all the time.
I love it.
All right, well, Kat, thank you so much for your time. So, anyway, like Keegan says, love you here, love Tyler here, to many more Pride Parades, many more years here, and we'll talk with you soon.
Yep. Thank you so much for having me. I'll see you after break, I guess. Wow,
Yeah.
it's already
Yeah, soon.
Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
See
Yeah.
ya.
Kat.
Thanks,
See
Kat.
ya.
All right, let's talk some Sharks now. And Dan Boyle, we have to ask you, have you crossed the Randy Hahn Rubicon?
I haven't yet, and I want to be proven wrong, so I pray that they do. Like I said, I still think, although obviously additions, they're adding now, they're not subtracting. So I like the lineup up front, and I shouldn't be saying this, and I hope they shove it in my face, but as a D group, I think we're missing something on the back end. But I think, unfortunately, if Macklin goes down, I think the ship goes down with it. And
Well,
to
that's
me,
the caveat. That's my caveat. I have
that's
crossed, but the caveat
and that's so
is like,
if he could stay healthy, then yes, but we can't guarantee that.
Okay.
So I haven't crossed
Well-
yet. I haven't crossed yet, but I pray they prove me wrong.
So you are saying that if Macklin stays healthy, you think they will make the playoffs as they are as a team?
No.
Why so hard-hearted? So cold, Dan.
No. I'm again, like I said, I don't want fans to get pissed off, and I feel like they're close, but they're just missing an ingredient or two, and I think they're very close.
Dan Boyle's cousin or whoever that was last time, yeah, write some shit to Dan
Boyle
on YouTube.
sucks. Boyle sucks.
That's
Thanks,
fucked up, Dan.
So you and Keegan, so last week, Shengers
holding
and I,
out.
yeah, we're like, we passed the line. We think
it wouldn't
we
be
think
fun
you're
if we
in.
were all on the same fucking page. You know what I mean? We got to have some docking and some clashing.
I thought I would be the last guy though, so I'm surprised that I'm the one that went first. Obviously, Randy beat us by a good month, but
where does Keegan sit on it?
Keegan is still like, he wants to see like where they are like at the Olympic break, basically. So 6 more games, see if they keep winning games. But and I'd admit too, I agree with you. Their defense is a question mark. They need more players that can kill plays. Basically, they don't have enough of those. But a lot of what my argument, not even an argument, it's vibe space, it's filling space, it's kind of being around the team and just being like, wow, they are really playing for each other.
Yeah.
They really do seem together, and feels like they have something kind of special going on. And I was around during Dan. I know the listeners know this, but I covered the very first Vegas Golden Knights team. That was my very first like NHL beat or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was around that team for a year, and I didn't believe in that team either because I looked at their defense and I looked at Derek England is playing 20 plus minutes a night as a shutdown guy. Your number one defenseman is like Shea Theodore, who we didn't know was, he had been cast off by Anaheim kind of.
Yeah.
And anyway, they obviously put it together with kind of a no name at the time defensive group. And so I think they're going to have enough. The West is weak. The schedule is weak the rest of the way. And that also, I do believe they're going to keep adding players. Like when we talked last week, it was before they traded for Sherwood. And I think if they can, obviously adding defense is hard, but I think they will add a defenseman too.
You think they're going to add a defenseman?
I think they have to. I mean, look, like let's get to the availability with Mike Grier. Mike Grier was very complimentary of his defensemen so far this year because he has to be and he should be because they've done a good like yeoman's work. No one is giving them any credit, and they've gotten the Sharks this far. But like anybody, like you don't need to be a hockey GM to look at this roster and be like, okay, yeah, you got to improve that defense. So they're going to try to. They may not be able to because obviously everybody wants a long, mobile defenseman that can kill plays and make a first pass. Everybody wants that, but the Sharks have a lot to trade, and so as we saw in the Sherwood trade, I think they're willing to trade some of it to kind of get this thing going.
Yeah, and again the for the pissed off Shark fans that are watching and being like, "Oh, Boyle sucks."
You suck, brother.
Right now, I mean, let's be honest. They're playing well. We're all excited, but they're on the bubble of a wild card position. You know what I mean? We're not talking about a team that's fighting for first in their division right now. We're talking about a team that's hanging on, depending on the day, to a bubble playoff wild card position, and that's why I haven't crossed the threshold. I love what the team's doing. Don't get me wrong. I think the future is bright. I just think, there's my dog. I think that I just think that we're not quite there yet.
Let's talk about Sherwood. And what is Kiefer going to add to the Sharks? And
is he a Miami of Ohio alumni, by the way? I think I saw that.
Good
question. You guys are gonna have to. I'm pretty sure what
really?
I heard, which means I should support him.
Really?
I don't know him, but he'll be the third. Me, Tommy Wingles, and now Sherwood.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
He is?
You're right.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
All right.
3 seasons.
Miami, Ohio.
All right.
Hockey hotbed.
We got to get him on at some point. But no, I mean, like, look, we know Sherwood's game pretty well. And, I mean, there's a lot to like in his game. And I think it's definitely something the Sharks are missing. that sandpaper, that tenacity, that ability to play with that speed and that forecheck and hitting that he brings to the game that we don't have in our top 9. We have that in our fourth line. I love this acquisition, obviously, with the caveat that he re-signs with the Sharks, which it sounds like they're not in agreement with yet. But if he re-signs with the Sharks, I love it. I actually see him as, if you look at the arc of his development, he's a bit of a late bloomer, but so are people like Marchand. There's a lot of guys that start off as rats and then sort of develop their offensive game, and you know what I mean?
That's what Askarov called him. And Askarov played with him.
I did read that. I did see that. Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah. A rat.
Which is probably a compliment to...
It was.
I'm a little older than you guys, but the original rat when I was young was a small guy named Ken Linsman. I don't know.
I know.
He played
for
the Bruins.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Marchand, I think, fits the bill for the current player. And hell, if he's half or 3/4 of what Marchand is, then I'm gonna go shut this dog up.
If you can lock him in, he makes the Sharks better instantly, and he gives you something you don't have. I'm really excited. I hope he can make Tuesday's game, as we heard he's trying for. Where do you see him slotted, Shangers? You see him on the first line?
He's going to be a guy that's going to be up and down. They might give him a first shot at that first line, but I don't know if that's going to be. That's obviously a prize position with Macklin, and Colin Graff has done a good job there. Colin Graff,
absolutely.
We'll talk a little bit more about the Florida game, but Colin Graff was the underrated sort of hero of Macklin's second goal there, taking it from Sosi. Sosi had a very bad shift there. But actually, I wanted to tell this funny story actually about Sherwood though, and being called a rat, and that tells you a lot about Brad Marchand actually. So I was talking with the Skaroff about Kiefer Sherwood. Like I said, they played in Milwaukee together, and I asked Yarrow just what makes him so. Yaroslav had said something like, "Yeah, I hate playing against him, but I love playing with him." And I asked Yaroslav, like, what makes him so sort of hateable? And Askarov said, he's rat. And I was like, red? No, he's rat. And I was like, red? And he's like, no, and he's like, and then Askarov was like Brad Marchand. And I was like,
oh, really?
I know exactly what you're talking about. So I thought that was funny that like Brad Marchand is so associated with being a rat that like the second you said Brad Marchand, I was like, oh. And that's a compliment to Brad Marchand, by the way. So
yeah. No, I like it. I could definitely see him. We've talked about a lot of like what is the right complementary winger for Macklin. And obviously with how good Smith and Macklin have that chemistry, I think that Sherwood would slot there well, because right now Macklin has to be the dog in the boards and dig out the puck a lot. But if you get a good complementary winger that can grind it out in the boards and feed him, I think you're going to see a lot more of that offensive upside from Macklin, where he doesn't have to do as much board work. I think you're going to see more of him like sliding the slots, more goal scoring. Because right now he's still predominantly a playmaker. I mean, he scores goals, but his playmaking's unreal. And I think he can, if you look at we talked about this before, like Nyes or Mason Marchment or some of these complementary guys that are first line wingers that play with elite players, that's their job. Go into the boards, win the puck, forecheck, and get it to your elite players. And I think that Sherwood has the capability of doing that. The other thing he could do is, the Sharks in the top, especially the top 6, we don't really initiate like a physical game. And a lot of the Eklund sticking up for guys and stuff like that is reactive. With a guy like Sherwood, you're now initiating.
Sure.
You're proactive on your checking. You're going in and you're hitting guys. You're not waiting to get hit and then sticking up for guys. And that's something I think that Mike Grier realized we need and why he's been targeting Sherwood for as long as he has.
Yeah, he's, I joked with you guys after the trade that he's what Luke Cunnin was supposed to be. Everybody who listens to the show knows how much I love Luke Cunnin, but Sherwood is a different level of player.
Yeah. So, I also could see him doing really well on Misa's line, though. I think Misa's
the
line
thing about
could
him,
use
he
that.
can fit with any line, right? And so that element of, I don't know, Dan, if you know this, that Kiefer set the NHL record in hits last year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, yeah, 462 hits. So he's kind of like Cal Clutterbuck, but with a
I
little
was just
more
gonna
scoring
say,
touch.
yeah,
So,
I
yeah.
remember Cal
Yeah.
Clutterbuck was a pain in the ass for years, but certainly never got to meet him, or know him. But he's the type of player that same thing. You kind of freaking can't
Yeah.
stand. Fuck, but you'd want on your team, and those guys. I remember Scott Nichols back when he was here, like just a ball of fucking energy that wouldn't quit, like the Energizer Bunny. And I love those types of players because their hearts are huge. The effort is there, and it's contagious. And it just, on a night where you just don't have your A game, or if you're a skill guy, you're off. Those guys, they find a way to get the energy going, and those are very, very important pieces.
I know there's a risk because Sherwood is 30. He is, like you said, Zubair, a UFA. And he's looking for a lot, it sounds like. Maybe just generally ballpark figures that have been thrown out is maybe like 5 times 5, maybe like 30 millions overall, which is a lot. But let's consider also there's a rising cap too. And anyway, anyone you kind of signed, you're going to take a chance on. And Sherwood, it'd be great if he was 26 and younger and whatnot. But if you don't make a trade for a player like this, then you lose out completely, because guys, if you have a guy like this who's 26, teams usually don't let him go. You need a particular circumstance like Vancouver that they're a real mess. So they're really trying to take it apart. So you got to take advantage of that with just what you can get from it.
No, I agree. I'm pretty hopeful that they reach some sort of agreement. I'm hoping that Sherwood likes it, like the team, the squad, and is willing to take something. But you can also respect, he's a late bloomer, and I think he's on he was on a 2-year, $3 million per AAV.
Yeah, 2 years, $3 million. This is his
extension.
last chance, probably,
his
for
last
a
chance
big
to
payday.
Yeah, unless he has like a real Marchand,
Sure.
arc and
Brad
really,
Marchand,
Brad Marchand, so like unless he has that kind of arc, which again I see a comp there, right? Like I see him developing that offensive side the way that Brad did. So yeah, no, I like it. I love the move. I think I'm hopeful that he'll re-sign, but I think that's the only caveat.
Oh, the other note too is that's interesting about this too is that Mike Grier has acquired him so early that there is the option too that if by the trade deadline, March 6th, that you don't think Sherwood is going to sign, that you're so far apart, you can flip him again. And that's what happened last year. Colorado traded Mikko Rantanen to Carolina. Carolina realized that they wouldn't be able to sign him, so they flipped him to Dallas. And there's actually a chance that Sherwood actually could increase in value by the trade deadline, because he went for 2 second-round picks. He might get the Sharks a first round. I actually think that can happen. The value of players can go up by the trade deadline. One NHL scout told me about Sherwood, all 32 teams could use a player like him. So he's a player that will be very much in demand. So that's also another possibility too. So I think this is a good gamble to take by Mike Grier for sure. I agree, even with the caveats that we mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw an interesting article the other day, and I'm probably going to F it up, but it showed the percentages of players taken in the 2nd to 7th round or something like that have played at least, I don't know what, 82 games career. And it's shockingly not a lot.
Yeah.
It was under what, like I would have thought it was way more. I forget what the number was, but it was a very small percentage. So
I think most fans get this wrong, but the largest cohort of people in the NHL, and I played over 400 games to be like considered a real NHL, or some people say 300, are first round picks. The second largest cohort is second round. The third largest cohort is undrafted. So the third largest demographic of people in the NHL are undrafted.
It was super interesting. So when you give away 2 second rounders, I mean, of course there's always a possibility that someone is going to be, a Pavelski in the 7th round or whatever he was, but those are few and far between. So, I don't think it's a huge risk when you're giving away a second rounder. Odds are that person will most likely not be an NHLer for a very long time. God, this dog, I'm going to go shut him out again. Sorry, guys.
Sheriff is policing the town. So let's talk about Igor Chernyshov.
Speaking of second round picks.
Yep, exactly.
Very solid segue there.
Yeah, exactly. So he obviously got reassigned. We'll get into the Mike Grier availability, but he gave us a little insight on what's going on there. With him being able to play more hockey during the Olympic break. Any thoughts on that, Schenger?
I was still a little surprised by it just because of how impactful Igor has been, even though he had a drop off after his sort of like his initial quick start with Macklin Celebrini. But even his last game, Igor's last game against the Panthers, he was excellent. He had 2 assists, and he was, driving the Panthers back for his 2 assists too, their primary assist for him. So I was a little surprised by it, but I also understand kind of that roster crunch that the Sharks are in the last couple of weeks because of how many forwards they have with Will Smith coming back. Adam Gaudette has sat out. Adam Gaudette has done nothing to get sat out for. Ryan Reeves has sat out. Ryan Reeves has had a pretty good season. Even Jeff Skinner. Jeff Skinner hasn't had as maybe good a season as those guys, but Jeff Skinner, before he got sat out, had 6 points in 6 games. And he's out for 5 games in a row. Yeah. So if you're Jeff Skinner, you're like, hey, what gives here? So anyway, I think that Mike is trying to figure out the roster. It's a good problem the Sharks have. They have too many decent-ish NHL wingers forwards right now. So that's why Chernyshov got sent down, I think. And so I think they're trying to figure out what the next step is. Mike kind of said, some roster moves before the Olympics, which I think are to be expected because there's going to be a freeze there. But could that mean, I think Jeff Skinner is probably, you just read between the lines. You could see it with Nick Leddy before he got waived, that the Sharks were getting injured and whatnot, and they still weren't playing Leddy. And I think it tells you, they recognize where Leddy's game is at this point in his career. And that's not to take anything away from how great a player Nick Leddy was. I think the same thing with Skinner, that the first guy that they took out was the offense first winger that wasn't scoring at again, not to take anything away from Jeff Skinner, 6-time 30-goal scorer, one of the great goal scorers of his time, but he hasn't been quite that good this year with the Sharks, and so he's the first guy that they've kind of sat out. So I think that best guess is that they're going to try to find a home for him, and if they stay healthy. And speaking to that, Philip Kershaw, he is practicing again, and he's supposed to be back before the Olympics. So that's another forward, another winger to kind of add to the mix there. And so I think Chernyshov, he'll come back when the roster is a little more clear for him, and I think they're going to expect him to come back and be a huge part of the playoff run.
Yeah, and I like that the Sharks are always focused on development, right? He's young enough to play through the Olympics and getting him more experience. And
8 games the Barracuda play when the Sharks are off.
So he'll be able to keep his legs moving, keep his game developing. And I know that you had an article, Shangers, on what he can learn going down into the AHL and playing for the Barracuda. You want to share some of that stuff with us, or what you think he can learn down there?
Well, I think the best thing that Ryan Warsofsky mentioned is that Igor was already penalty killing with the Barracuda before he got called up. And that's one of the things that kind of got the Sharks' attention, that, hey, this guy can do this already, and he's just 20, and he's doing a competent job of it. Okay. And so they called him up, and obviously they're not using him on the PK at the NHL level, but it tells you that he is defensively responsible, that they're willing to trust him with that, right? And so that's what he's going to do, it sounds like, when he goes back down to the Barracuda. He's going to PK more. And that's one of those things where he does it more, he gets more experience doing it. And so maybe when he comes up, that's going to be something that he can add, or he's just going to be better defensively. Also, too, Warsofsky kind of set an interesting challenge for Chernyshov. He said basically that a lot of times when players get sent down, they have that kind of oh man, I'm back in the AHL, and they hang their heads, and they're just not that same like zest that got them into the NHL. They kind of lose that because they had a taste of it and they got demoted. But everything we hear about Chernyshov is that he's just a guy that kind of lives and breathes hockey, and like, he's like a Russian version of Macklin or something like that, and so Warshawski is saying that he just assumes that Chernyshov will go down and just pick up where he left off. He was the Barracuda's best player when he got called up, and that will just kind of lead back into him getting called up. So that's an interesting challenge for Chernyshov. Because Chernyshov is not a player that has probably, well, maybe in Russia when you're in the KHL and you're playing like 10 minutes a night, but in North America he's not a player that's been sort of demoted much or anything like that. He goes to Saginaw last year, he tears it up. He joins the Barracuda this year, he tears it up. So we'll see how he kind of deals with his adversity.
I'd love to add to that. That demotion is a tough pill to swallow. When you go up for a while, I'm not talking about 2-3 games. When you are up for a while and you are playing well, I remember my first year when I got called up to Florida. I played the whole second half of the season, 40 games or so. Played very, very well. The following season, they sent me down, and it was tough because now you're no longer like, oh, I don't belong here. Like I told you that I felt my first camp. Like at this point, I'm like, okay, I know I belong. Now I was pissed. You go down, you get back to bus rides. It's tough mentally. It's a tough pill to swallow. So again, I think the good players that are strong mentally will persevere. And, again, same fucking old story, Dan Boyle with his fuck you attitude, but sorry, but that's kind of what I took again, like, oh really? Like you're going to send me down, and have that like mentality to like fight through it to get back up versus, cause I've seen other guys get sent down. Their give a shit meter goes down and they kind of lose themselves. And it's easy because I'd been there. You're like, really? Because I remember my third year I got sent down for a hot minute, and that one was tough. Like the second one was hard, but the third time, I was like fucking really? And it was really hard to motivate myself. So I'm a little nervous, but I'm sure they're going to talk to him. He's young, and it sounds like you said he's a very motivated player. But it is a tough pill to swallow when you get a taste of the NHL to get sent back down, especially after you've had success. That's the thing. He's had success at the NHL level, so it's going to be hard.
What have you seen so far from him, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, I've liked him from the first day. Obviously, it's no secret, Grizzy. I mean, the team's gotten a lot bigger and taller and stronger, and obviously his size is the first thing. His skating, and you could tell from the first game, like he takes the puck to the net. He's a lot to handle. And again, anyone that plays with Macklin is going to be successful. So I guess what I'd like to see from him is if he's not on the line with Celebrini, how do we see any other player?
Right.
We saw, I love Colin Graff. I fucking love him. But we saw when he was off Macklin's line, I felt like he disappeared a little bit. And that's what I'd like to see from Chernyshov too. Like if you're not going to play on Macklin's line, which you may not when you come back, can you carve your own position on the team? But he's got every attribute and skill set to be a powerful NHL forward for sure.
And that's a good transition to the Florida game, which was definitely the most exciting game since our last shoot. And Chernyshov was amazing in that game, and he did well. Not with Macklin, moved down with Misa, and he really dictated the offense that day. Like we're using his speed and also his playmaking ability. I just love his IQ. Like that coming down to like basically the goal line and then pausing, hesitating, and then shooting off the goalie for that rebound to Ferraro. Like his ability to stop also in dangerous areas and just possess the puck, his board play. So
real quick, and what's the Ferraro goal count? Where are we at? He's at 4 now.
He's at 4. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Keep going. Just go.
Okay. Should have taken real bets on it. I didn't believe, but
I think the over-under was 5. I believe the over-under was 5. I mean, I don't.
We have to go back through our text. Was it 5 or 6?
That's the 5, thing we don't know. We don't know.
I think I lowered it to 5.
All right, sorry to cut you off. I just
no, that's deep in our thread too. So we got to scroll way up there.
All right. Okay. Actually, though, boiler finger gun time though. All right.
6.
Is Macklin so good this year, Dan, that even I could score with him?
You?
Come on, he's so good this year.
You know what? If you're in front of the net, I think he's fucking smart enough that he could hit it off your skate. You wouldn't even know it.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
I'll say
yes.
I'll
But
say
wait,
yeah.
do you think Shangers can stay in front of the net long enough?
Yeah, I've never seen you skate. I have never seen you skate. I'm assuming.
I can skate. I'm not
I'm
great,
assuming
but
you can
I
skate.
can get there. I can
Okay.
skate. I can skate.
Okay. Who's better? You or Zubair?
Oh, Zubair's way better. There's no question about that.
Oh,
Zubair's
shit.
scoring like 10 goals.
Ooh,
Zubair's getting double-digit goals with Macklin. I
All
get 1 or 2 off the skate, and I call it a career. So.
And I want to add one little thing about Macklin because we always have to talk about him every week. But
Yes.
in yesterday's game, he's got 2 goals. He's going down a 2-on-1 with Smith. And that's where these are little things, but like some players that are a little bit more I and selfish will shoot to get the hat trick, will score to get a hat trick.
Yeah.
And I love him so much. I love his tenacity and his work ethic, and he's a fucking glue. We guy, not me guy. And he makes an incredible pass. I mean, Smith should have scored. He just kind of lost the puck or whatever.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Yeah,
those
yeah,
are
that's one I kinda
little
skipped
things
on
that
Smith,
you could
yeah.
tell. You could tell that's a character. That's something that I don't know. Those are little things. If I was a scout and I see that, I'm like, okay, that's a guy I want on my team. Not to say that if he shot, it would make him selfish, but those are just little things that I notice in his game that he's just. You could tell this guy wants to fucking win games, and he's gonna have a fucking bunch of hat tricks by the time he's done. But he's impressive.
Can I ask you, Dan? Actually, everyone always tries to ask Macklin about this, and he is always like, he doesn't really say much about it. And not to say that you would know the answer, but like, so one of the things about Macklin is just how, yeah, like he is so team first, and where does he get that? Like, we had a lot of reporters on a couple of days ago. And you could see the availability. I posted it on the San Jose Hockey Now YouTube. Macklin, they had availability basically for Macklin to talk about the Olympics and stuff like that. And they had reporters from basically reporters that aren't normally Sharks reporters come in. And you look at the YouTube comments for that availability, they're kind of hilarious because like all the commenters always so smart. They're ripping the reporters. Like these are such awful questions because the reporters are asking about, they have like Warriors reporters coming in. They're asking about Steph Curry. They have they had like Bay Area sports writing legends, but like not necessarily hockey writers, Ann Killian, and she's just asking general Olympic stuff. And so anyway, just people are just ripping on the questions, but everyone always asks like, is it because you're around Steph Curry? Like, where do you get this like team first, this like ability to, kind of flush things? Oh, I just want one more thought to finish it.
Yep.
And then, my thought is like, he acts the same way, the best I can tell, that players that he grew up like kind of idolizing, like Crosby and Taves, he seems to act very similar to them. And I've asked Macklin directly this, and he's like, no, it has nothing to do with that. Like, he says he just doesn't know how he sort of came to be. But just in your sort of, your elite athlete sort of experience or whatnot, just what do you guess? Where does this come from?
I think you're just born with it. I think you're just born with it. I think, again, I was fortunate enough to play 18 years, and I'm not going to throw anyone on the bus, but there are guys that are just, they're we guys more than the rest.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just something you're born with. I just think going back to playing youth hockey, where you like, I remember it was always about winning. It was It was never about points for me. Going back even before when I would play in Canada, they'd have these like pools, like swimming pools, where in the winter, not winter, but like they would drain it. We would play hockey in there. It was always about fucking winning, and we played ball hockey in there, and it was just like, I think that's where it develops. It's like the desire and fight to win for your teammate and your buddy, and so I think for me the answer is he's just born with it. It's not something you could teach. And there's a scale, I think at the end of the day, I think we're all team oriented players, but some guys just have it more than others. And with him,
Okay.
I just see the ultimate WE person, teammate, just by what he does out there. Guys will always say, "Oh, I don't care about points." Everyone's going to say that. That's the right thing to say, but sometimes it's not always the case underneath. Some guys do care.
Yeah.
Whereas I just don't see that with him at all.
He's just a good old Canadian boy.
But we as writers, and I'm not criticizing anybody who's asking questions in that scrum. Like if you're not around the Sharks every day, that's a perfectly normal thing to ask about. Like, wait, your dad is Rick Celebrini, who works for the Warriors. He has trained guys like Marcus Naslund and Steve Nash and Steph Curry, and you've been around players like that your whole life. And, myself also, like, okay, your favorite players are Sidney Crosby and Jonathan Toews, and you act kind of like, not exactly, but like the, modern replica of these guys. And as a writer, you kind of want to draw this narrative of osmosis and whatnot. And I just think it's interesting, refreshing what you said, Dan, that it's just as simple as you're born with it. You have it or you don't.
Yeah.
To Dan's point out, I just want to add, in hockey, which is such a team-oriented sport, there's a way that you lead to what makes winners winners, and people that are more team-oriented do better. And I think that he's just such a championship pedigree in terms of he knows what it takes to win. And I think you're right. Some people are born with it. It's like a skill, right? Like skating or shooting. And guys that are more team-oriented in hockey do better in terms of championships.
Yeah. And I think work ethic is right at the top of.
Right.
There's a lot of skilled players, but you could tell sometimes guys take nights off. Guys take shifts off. And with him, I don't see it. And I think I talked about this before the season started with you guys. When a team's down 6-1 or 5-2 in the third period, you can see certain guys that just pull the chute, call it a day, and you can see guys that will fucking back check and fight till the very end. And I think it's telling. It's telling. Some guys just don't have that switch that goes all the way, where it's like, fuck, we're down 6-1. There's 10 minutes to go. Like, fuck it. Let me just get through it. Whereas other guys are like, they're just so committed to being the best they can be every single shift, no matter what the score is. And I'm repeating myself, but I think he's got that is a special gift.
Well, you can see that when they're down against Vegas and the coaching staff is turning to Macklin to double shift and get us back in the game, Macklin.
Right.
Just like Jason Demers was joking about last week. Like, what are you going to do today for us, Macklin?
Yeah,
and that's kind of what they put on him, and he takes it. Like, you watch those games, and like he was really actually kind of good in those games that they got blown out, because he just keeps going and he's trying to drag his team back.
Yeah,
and
you want.
Obviously, it's usually not going to work.
And as a player, you want that. You want that responsibility.
Yeah.
You want to be the guy.
Right.
And not everyone else does. When I say you, those types of players, you want that. Some players lead and some players follow. And
I don't want that.
See, I did. I wanted, I wanted, like, give me the puck and let me bring the guys into the fight, I guess, and not everyone can lead.
Yeah. I think, and this is just, I think they're going to name him captain next year. I think that he just keeps kind of blowing past expectations.
Yeah.
And I tried to ask Mike Grier this directly in his availability, and we're going to talk about that. And Mike was probably taken aback that I was so direct, but we don't get a lot of chances to talk with Mike, so I don't want to waste my time with pitter-patter questions. I just asked him directly. And one thing that Mike did say is that he's been impressed with how Macklin has handled actually media. And that's not just me. I know I'm annoying as shit, but also, too, just media in general. Like when Macklin goes to Toronto and he gets asked 5 different ways about the Olympics. This is before the Olympic team was even selected. He asks, and he gets 5 different, reporters are trying to dig some kind of answer from him. Or even this past week, when people are asking him about the Warriors and his Olympic excitement again, and even when they got shit kicked in Colorado, and I pulled Macklin out because I was just curious what he would say, and I thought he handled it fine, even though he doesn't say much. But he composed himself, and he just answered the questions kind of quickly, directly, but curtly, politely, and he got out of there. And I thought it was very interesting thing that Mike Grier did point out about Macklin, and so I think if I were to put money on it, if I were to double Dan Boyle finger gun myself, I think he's going to be the captain next year.
But he's only had like 140 games of Sheng Peng.
I know.
Imagine 1,000 games of Sheng Peng. You think he'll still be polite? What's he going to say in game 922 when Sheng Peng asks him a dumb question?
I just always want to cut to no one respects you. Just cut to the Boilers clip every time.
Dude, fuck. My team rallied behind me that night. They loved it. I didn't know at the time, but it was a good moment. It was a good moment for me and our team. But yeah.
Well, Macklin did. Hey, let's promote our Instagram a little bit. I don't know if you saw this, Dan, but Macklin did call reporters out and actually and me in that availability. Basically. Okay, so we're going to talk about the goalie fight in the Florida game. And so because that fight, I mean, we haven't seen a goalie fight in 6 years. So I asked for Vincent Desharnais post game. He obviously had a huge impact on that Florida game. And I'm asking him about the goalie fight. I'm asking him about Nedeljkovic standing up for him. And then near the end of it, Vinny's like, wait, you're not going to ask me about my goal? And this was Vinny's second goal of his NHL career. I think he's played like 200 NHL games. I think he had like the longest streak of a player, goalless streak of an active NHL player, like 140 games or something like that. And I honestly, I just saw a goalie fight, and I'm the only traveling reporter there. No one else was asking questions. So I did drop the ball there. I 100% admit it, but there are extenuating circumstances, right? So anyway, Vinny gave me some shit. It was in good fun. We laughed about it. I asked him about the goalie fight, and that was all good. But then we get Macklin a few days later, and Macklin was like, yeah, I heard that you guys, the reporters, he was talking to all of us, I heard you guys didn't ask Vinny about his goal. And the fellow reporters, the rats they are, were like, it was Sheng. Sheng didn't ask anything about the goal. And so Macklin looks at me, he's just like, yeah, he didn't like that. You gotta recognize.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that game real quick. So obviously for those of you that watched it, a goalie fight, which is, very rare. Obviously, you said 6 years. Is that what you said?
Yeah, 6 years. Yeah. Hi, Keegan.
Hey.
What's up, Keegan?
Hey, everybody. Yeah, it was 2020, I guess, the last goalie fight.
Who was it?
I don't know.
Smith and Talbot.
Oh, like goalie fights at all? I thought you meant shark goalie fights.
No, at all.
No, goalie fights at all.
Real ones, because they normally stop them.
5 or 6 goalie fights since 2000 or something like that.
Really? Oh,
I was looking it up for you. I was wondering if you had ever been in seen a goalie fight live, goalie fight.
I'm sure I have. I just
I don't think you have though, because it's not, at least not actual goalie fight where they both got
Oh yeah, you're right. I mean, I guess the most memorable one in my lifetime is probably the Osgood and Wah.
Right.
Ron Hextall was my favorite goalie growing up, so I know I saw him fight quite a bit. But you're right. I mean, that's going back, 20, 30 years. So, 30 plus years. So, but anyway, so back to the fight. Love it. Loved it for the team. No one got hurt. You got your tallest player getting hit from behind. I thought he kind of let himself go a little bit, but obviously, it was a hit from behind. It was dirty. It was late. And then you got your goalie backing you up. And then Bobrovsky, for those of you that watched it, skates all the way down the ice, and Ned turns around and does great, and does great. I mean, they both, it's not like he got his ass kicked. He fucking great job. And I just looked at the bench every time the camera cut over. I looked at the bench, and the bench was fired up. And that is the kind of shit that even had they lost that game, I think those are the things that elevate a team, put a team together. That's like putting that glue, and it just bonds the team together. And I freaking loved seeing it. Obviously, we got a huge win against Stanley Cup champs, but love it for Ned, and it was awesome. I mean, it was good for TV. It was good for hockey fans. Again, nobody being hurt being the key part, but great team building experience there.
And I just want to add too, because we talk about our unsung heroes, Nedeljkovic.
Yeah.
What a pickup. He's really, really been the perfect goalie with Askarov. In terms of what does this tell Askarov? He's playing the best hockey he's played all season down the stretch. Right now, I think he's been looking great. Pulling off some wins for us. The way he plays the puck, his attitude, his competitiveness, his sticking up for the boys. What a signing! One of the best signings in the offseason. Up there with Orlov. Sorry, trade. Correct. Yeah, it was trade. Yeah. It's just, again, all these great picks that are building up the perfect pieces for this year's Shark squad, and I think that's just a great pickup by Grier and the organization.
I agree.
And then Desharnais. I mean, that hit on Ketchup too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Multiple hits on Ketchup, and
and that's
awesome.
Sharks bullying. Yeah, it was awesome. What a game.
No, yeah. There's so many examples of that game. Actually, that's what I wrote about, because I've been to Florida for that road trip for a number of years, and I've watched the Panthers. Panthers obviously have had great teams, back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. They've rinsed the Sharks. Last year, the Sharks went into Florida. They were about 500. They were thinking playoffs at that point. Last year was in December. They had just beat Washington, actually. I think they had a big win against Washington last year in December on that road trip. And you go to Florida. Florida outshoots the Sharks 54-29. It's not even, it's like men versus boys, that game. The score it's a 3-1 loss for the Sharks, but it's only 3-1 because of Mackenzie Blackwood. Blackwood made 51 saves. It actually was Blackwood's last game as a Shark. 2 days later, they're still in Florida because they're just practicing in Florida before their next game. The Sharks basically waved the white flag to their season. Trading Blackwood to Colorado. Anyway, though, that game, though, last year, Florida is just bullying the Sharks all over the place. And I know it's not the same Florida team as last year. They've had a lot of injuries, but to see the Sharks, Vinny Desharnais, like you said, with Kachuk, Ryan Reeves laughing off AJ Grier when I think he's trying to defend Willie Macklin. Pavel Regenda standing up for Michael Misa. Perfectly clean hit that I think it was the Belinsky's on Misa. But hey, Misa's 18. Regenda just goes over there. Regenda is 6'4". You're not going to do that. Regenda gets the extra for it. Love it. And Florida, of course, pushed back in the third period, and that's part of that's when the fight happened, the goalie fight. But hey, Nedeljkovic stands up for his guy too. And so to see the Sharks bully the Panthers, there's so many things that are happening this season. They're this is functional winning NHL hockey that we haven't seen. There's so many they're not first, but they feel like first for the Sharks because they've been so bad for so long, but just things that we used to see a decade ago. But anyway, so I was very impressed.
What I really liked was after the fight, you looked at the bench and Celebrini, and I think Smith was on the bench maybe. They're all just kids. They're just they got this massive smiles on their face. They're beating the bench. They're so fucking excited. And I would think that after that with a veteran team like Florida, that the next shift, they'd get scored on. I was literally thinking that. I was they're going to be too hyped up. Ned just got off this massive adrenaline rush. And then they didn't. That shuts the door. They they pushed back, but like they didn't. They held on, and that was something that in past years I think that you would expect the Sharks team to kind of fold after that.
To
and
lose.
They didn't.
Yeah.
And
even
they
in
didn't.
even the first 10 games of the season.
That too. Like,
Yeah.
it's a team that's growing, and it's just awesome to see. It was just, I just love that shot of the bench. That's so good. Just they're so excited. I loved it.
Well,
Yeah,
someone
great game.
tweeted and called it like, when they cut to the fight, after the fight, all the players, Florida included, it was like preschool, all the kids. Yeah.
So excited.
That was a great tweet. Randy Hahn retweeted it. So, yeah, I don't know who tweeted it out, but
That's
that was
amazing.
hilarious.
And this, this brings up, why people are showing up to games again.
Mhm.
Sharks are exciting to watch, and I know there's something you wanted to chat about, Shangers, but SAP Center is buzzing again.
Yeah, I think, Dan, I wish you were at the game yesterday, the Rangers game.
I heard the buzz is pretty good.
Well, yeah, and it also goes back to what they used to say about SAP Center when you played there, and teams will come in and they would say, we just got to get out of the first period. We can't be down in the first period or, you're going to get overwhelmed. And that's what happened to the Rangers. The Rangers were down 2-0 within 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Mike Sullivan called a timeout. When you see teams call timeouts 3 minutes into a game, they're teams that are flustered. They're like, what the fuck just happened? And then 4 minutes later, though, Macklin scores his second goal of the game to make it 3-0. I wrote about this yesterday. I loved how the crowd is chanting MVP. They're not chanting about fucking tacos anymore. They're chanting MVP. And hey, I don't blame the fans over the years. Like, what else did you have to cheer for but tacos over in recent years? I looked it up. 2022 to last season, the Sharks won 31 home games. Over 3 seasons. They won 31 home games. That is 14 less than second worst, which was Chicago and Anaheim.
Jeez.
They won 45. That's how bad at home they were. We're used to the Sharks like, oh, hey, they're doing well going into third period. They got a 3-2 lead. They're going to blow it. They're going to give up that last minute, empty net goal, whatever, right? That's what we've seen from the Sharks the last few years. And anyway, so to see the crowd so into it, it just reminded me of again, that's a first too. And Ryan Warsawski acknowledged that. I asked Warsawski about it after the game, and Warsawski was like, yeah, like I obviously Warsawski wasn't here for the peak of SAP Center of the Sharks, but he watched it on TV. Yeah. And he said, yeah, that's what everybody talks about, that in the old days, that's what it used to be like at SAP Center. And then he said, yeah, this is the first time that we've experienced something like that, where it felt like the crowd, the team's play was overwhelming the opposition with, minutes into the game. And obviously, the Sharks need to keep that up for the rest of the season. Obviously, too, against the Rangers, they kind of let them back into the game because the Sharks are, they're still a team that has, serious roster construction questions. But again, it's another first that we haven't seen in SAP Center since 2019.
Yeah. I mean, I remember one of the best quotes. I forget who it was. Not a quote, but the Shark Tank was always known. Like, everyone would always say, like, we would just have to get through the first period, or it always felt like you guys were playing a 6-on-5. Like, did you guys pull your goalie to start the game? Like, it always felt like we were overwhelming teams in our heyday when I was here, when we had some very, very good hockey teams. So, and the buzz is great too. So now, like my 15-year-old, obviously because of the Will and Macklin Celebrini, and my 15 and 17-year-olds are talking about, hockey now. And, I was at a Court of All yesterday, playing golf, and the, hockey's on TV. I think it was like the Senators and Buffalo or something. Like, oh shit. Okay. Like hockey, the buzz is coming back around. And I know you guys are going to talk about it. I'm not going to be around, but heated rivalries played a little part in that, where we're getting some more women watching the game. But, as an alumni of the Sharks family, I think it's been tough to watch, and as fans, I'm sure for you guys, and it's been tough to go to the games and seeing it half empty or sometimes less. And it's absolutely great and exciting to to watch this team. We're watching this team grow. Like you said, we're watching some of the collapses they've had in the past. Now they're not collapsing. Now the next step will be going into Florida, bullying Florida, getting a goalie fight, and then you turn it around 2 nights later and you spank the fucking Lightning. Right now we're still we didn't do that, but that'll be the next step where you're not only being the shit out of teams that you used to not beat, but you're backing it up with another effort against another good team 2 nights later, and then you're like, oh shit, we came out of Florida with 4 points and absolutely smoked them, and I think that's the next step for this team.
Well, the final boss is fucking up Vegas. That's the final boss.
Yeah, well, that's going to be another.
And they may not happen this season.
It may not happen this year. Yeah,
exactly,
for sure.
exactly.
So
yeah, they're just that good. I think we need to turn the clock on to winning. That's what I think what I'm learning from this team is we've been expecting losses, and I've been expecting losses, and they're not coming. We're winning, and we shouldn't be afraid of it. And
did you pass this week, Keegan? The Randy Hahn Rubicon?
Not yet.
Okay, so you and Dan are still
you and Dan hanging out
I'm
together.
really close. Maybe one or two more.
Scared.
I'm looking at the standings. I'm analyzing maybe 1 or 2 big wins and some other points fall, and then I'll cross it. But
Florida and Dallas weren't big enough for you?
They were pretty big.
Zubair, this is like Oregon Trail. These motherfuckers are afraid of fording the creek. So
yes, yeah. Like we got a board.
Let me pull up the NHL standings right now.
We're getting clear. We're getting there.
Take a look.
I mean, it's getting close. I think Grier makes a couple more moves. We see what the Sherwood impact is, and if it's good, and
it's gonna be good.
Yeah,
we got the Kings right there. You got the Seattle Kraken right there. You got Nashville that's made this amazing comeback. Mm-hmm. I think Chicago's too far away, and then you go further down. Vancouver, St. Louis, Calgary. I mean, Winnipeg is a team that I feel we probably all expected was going to be a play. I mean, didn't they win the President's Trophy last year?
They did. They did.
But
they're so far behind. Yeah.
I feel like Winnipeg's going to probably be there.
That was my guess too.
I really do. I don't know that Utah. I don't know that Utah stays there. But
I think Utah stays. I think Utah's legit.
You think?
Yeah, I think they're legit.
So
they get Cooley back soon too. They get
so you guys watch more hockey than me. I think Winnipeg gets in, and I think that might be the team that.
Yeah, it's gonna be close.
Granted, you got Anaheim.
The Pacific is open too, Dan.
No, I'm looking at that right now.
I'm
looking at that right now.
Yeah.
Vegas. I mean, come on. Vegas is a good team.
Yeah.
Edmonton.
Yeah, Vegas, Edmonton. They're fine. They're going to be in.
And then Anaheim. I guess there's always that third spot in the Pacific. So, I'm not. Me and Keegan are holding strong. Even though the fans are probably like, fuck you guys, but we need to see a little more. We need to see a little more, me and Keegan. We're not as easy as Sheng and Zubair giving it up on the first or second date.
Or Randy giving it up in December.
Swayed by vibes.
Randy gave it up. Randy gave it up 5 minutes into the first date. He's like, all right, let's go back. Let's get this over with.
Randy drank the Kool-Aid on the plane with the boys.
All right, boys, I got to get off.
Close.
I got to get off, and we'll talk soon. And
okay.
That's it. Thanks, guys. Sorry.
See you, bud.
Sounds good.
Got to go.
See you next week.
Bye. Ciao. Yeah.
So this brings us to, micro availability. Lots of things said. So
I want to say though that I think that maybe the new Randy Hahn Rubicon that I'm going to start using is Ford the Creek. And you got to be an Oregon Trail fan to understand it.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
Ford the Creek.
Both rivers, right? Yeah. Lakes, whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
Rivers.
But okay,
my career availability.
Your thoughts on my career? Yeah, I've been talking a bit. So what do you think of what my career said?
I love the way that Mike Grier talks, and I think that this is an interesting conversation in general about Mike Grier's strategy. He gives you enough that you could see what he's thinking, but not enough to be like, I know exactly what he's going to do next. He gives you just little bits, and that's a very nuanced media guy that he's been since he came in. But he does. I mean, there was some good information in there, and things that I thought that he was about the Sherwood trade and stuff like that kind of reaffirmed it. Just that there wasn't just mean, there's a lot of speculation why we do this trade, et cetera, and I think the getting ahead of free agency bit I thought was the coolest. The thing that was basically one of the most interesting GMing parts of it was just
Oh, he
if
said
this guy
that they were going to target him anyway, right? Yeah, that's what you're
exactly
talking
like
about,
they were
right?
going to target him
Okay,
in free
yeah, yeah,
agency, but they get him
yeah.
ahead. They get him into the culture of San Jose. They get him into a winning team. They get him and his wife to move to San Jose, and they just targeted him in a way that like makes him want to be there. Hopefully, you never know. Maybe he
Yeah.
hates it and doesn't want to be here. But like the point is, it's such an interesting thing for a player. And normally when they pick these kind of guys up, they do well with them, right? Like they pick up Reeves, they pick up Ostapchuk, they pick up um, uh, Nedeljkovic. The pro scouts find a specific archetype and then they single in, and then they typically have been doing well. So I'm really excited about that trade just because I like the Sherwood as a player when I've seen him, and I think that the pro scouts have done well with fitting in archetypes of players into the lineup. And Sherwood's something we don't have, something that I know you guys probably already talked about the Sherwood trade, but
Yeah, we did.
something we don't really have. So he
Yeah.
acknowledged that as well in his availability. So.
The phrase that we've been using, and Mike Grier used something different, but I think it's the first time I've heard him use it, though. And I think we're going to hear this phrase a lot in the coming years, is he called Sherwood a targeted acquisition, which is not any different than archetype, which is what we've used over the years in terms of Mike's drafting and that sort of thing. And I also wanted to mention, like, I think the best example of Mike dropping something that we didn't ask for but tells you a lot is we asked him about, okay, like you have all these UFA defensemen. Are you comfortable with just holding on to them and just seeing, if the record is good, just holding on to them and just seeing where they bring you? And he said, yeah, we're prepared for that. And then he cited last year, the Montreal Canadiens, they had 2 UFA centermen coming up, Christian Dvorak and Jake Evans, and they made the playoffs. The Canadiens, they got taken out in the first round, but they made the playoffs. And they re-signed Evans. They lost Dvorak, and he cited that. And so again, we didn't ask, hey, look at the Montreal Canadiens example from last year. He was telling us something. He's telling the fans. It's not really telling us, the media. He's really telling the fans, like, hey, we're like, here's an example of when it happened, and it worked for Montreal insofar as they made the playoffs. And look at Montreal this year; it looks like they're taking a step. So, the playoff experience from last year, you would think probably helped them in terms of taking a step this year. And we're prepared to do that. We're prepared to go into past the deadline and keep Mario and keep Lozergren and keep Desharnais and Nedeljkovic and Ryan Reeves, and then see what happens.
Yeah. They're not so concerned with just selling for the sake of selling.
Which I love. Yeah, exactly. And that's shows the evolution in strategy too, because last year, and I was critical about it last year, it was so sell, even on guys I didn't think should be sold so hard or so easily. But obviously the team's record this year, Macklin's growth, other growth areas, Colin Graff, guys like that, Mike has evolved sort of his strategy, which I love to hear. Obviously, Kiefer Sherwood re-signing Alex Wennberg is proof and pudding of that, of a GM that is, and some people might argue that Mike was too aggressive acquiring Sherwood. The Sharks aren't there yet. You can make that argument, but it's very clear though that his strategy, his GM strategizing is growing in real time, which I like to see.
Strategery.
Strategery, yeah.
Yeah, so strategery is strategizing. The team is showing him what he needs to do, and it's a testament to them. They want to win, and they know adding good players is going to make them win, and they're super excited to have Sherwood in, and I think that's really cool. It's different, but I think fans should just try to maybe look at the mindset of how we've been evaluating things, of looking to the future, and kind of realize that the future is now. It's just we have to build the now, and we're in the build phase fully and truly, and hopefully Teams do this and they never even make the playoffs, right? Like this is Detroit's first year, hopefully making the playoffs for the Yzer plan of 2017, 18. This is probably Buffalo's first year in 4 rebuilds of 15 years of playoff talk or 15 years of rebuilding. So you can rush it, but I honestly, Celebrini's so good, I don't think it matters. I really don't. Like, get good players, and we have already such a core group that is improving all the time that I'm excited, and I think he's going to keep on adding. Yes, the defense needs to be improved, and he kind of talked about that, but he was also like, "Hey, they're doing well."
Held that to his chest. Yeah,
yes, he did, and he said, "We won't spend a first on a rental." But that's where he stopped it on. Like he didn't say like we won't spend it first at all.
He didn't say exactly.
We won't spend it on a rental, or probably won't. So I wonder.
No, I mean, I don't think he will. I don't think he will. Yeah, like that was asked in reference to a question about Panarin. Which obviously Mike can't answer directly, but at first for a guy that's going to be there for a while, like let's say Edmonton's first. Bowen, Byram, somebody like that. I'm just speculating on that one, but yeah, he was very careful about kind of what he said and kind of what we could catch him on later. Way, you said you weren't going to trade it first, but he said specifically a rental. So
yeah. So and then lastly, I think the like you said, the defense is kind of patchwork, but they are doing well in their roles, right? Desharnais is making actual good defensive plays, not just like being a fill-in guy. He's doing well in a third pairing role. He's not just doing,
absolutely.
Like he's not just holding his own. Ferraro has played really well this season, I think, because he's had a better team. Still doing his things, and then Orlov and Klingberg have added some offense, and it was up and down in the beginning. It still is, but and they're not I would say it's like a playoff like contender team, but maybe that's what he's just trying to patchwork it for now, and he can't find the right big acquisition to get yet, so he's just gonna ride it out.
I've liked Liljegren recently, by the way, too. I wanted to put that out there. I think the last couple of weeks I've liked his game a bit more. So he's another obviously UFA coming up. I also want to mention that Mike was very sort of kept his cards close to the chest about what he wanted defensively. Actually, I thought when I asked him, like, what are you looking for on defense? He actually answered it. Maybe he didn't intend to, but like what he answered was, and granted, every team is looking for long, can kill plays around the net, can make that first pass, right? Everybody's looking for that. But it's very clear, though, that he was talking about a more defensive guy than, say, an Adam Fox or a Quinn Hughes. Not that there would be no interest in a guy like that, but, like, that's a type that I think, and we can kind of see that, obviously, like, if you can get a Quinn Hughes, you think about it, but the Sharks weren't there for that kind of trade yet. But like they need guys who can kill plays immediately, and so I think that's a clear recognition. And so I think it was a little more telling than even maybe he intended. I'm not sure, but
yeah, maybe it is or he was just kind of saying like some generic good defense things.
No, I think that's what they're looking for because the last time they lost to Vegas, I asked Warsawski about the same kind of question. Just like you look at the Vegas team, the size of the defensemen, and I don't know how I phrased it, but Warsawski gave a great answer, but just like that's how you defend in AHL now. You need guys who can skate, who have length, and also there's still the offensive component. You got to make that first pass. And so he was describing Vegas, and he really likes that Vegas team, Warsawski. Like I think I mentioned that before. He's very like clear in his admiration in terms of how that team is constructed, even if their record isn't great so far this season, for them at least. And so, no, I think that this is not just like hockey speak, that they are looking for guys. I mean, I don't know if Braden Schneider, he's the guy that's been in rumors. I'm not sure if he's the guy, because I'm not sure if the Sharks see him as like a legit top 4 guy as opposed to a 4 or 5 guy. But like somebody like that who's young and who can
If
basically
here's
be top four.
my prediction: if Winnipeg's out of the playoffs, I bet you they get Logan Stanley at the deadline. That's my and
Right,
JD
JD talked
mentioned
about
it
that last week.
last week, but I just the more I think about it, I feel like he's the kind of he's a defensive defenseman, but he's massive, and I feel like they want to add somebody like that into the lineup, kind of like Desharnais, but a little bit more. Got a little bit more offense, a little bit more first pass, and still he's like 26, 27, something like that. I think that would be one of the guys that they're looking for now and in the medium term. So I bet you. I bet it.
And I just want to add to that too. One other sort of adjective that he used, or sort of description of the defenseman that he wanted, was good in transition. And I think that's a really important component of the type of defenseman too. It's not necessarily offensive, like Sheng said. Like, if you read between lines, it's what he didn't say as well. But I think good in transition was one of the key things that he mentioned. And why is that important? Because you can see the style of play that Mike Grier's been trying to build, and even targeting people like Sherwood. Is we want to be quick attack team. You want to be quick on the attack, quick on the rush. And this is also why I think certain people on the Sharks have not been doing as well this season that we can get into later, because I think that we are really focusing on being quick on the attack, getting in on teams, and you just need a defenseman that doesn't need to necessarily jump in on the play. Like in the Florida game was a good example of two defensemen jumping in on play and being competent, being able to score goals, but those were quick attack plays. And so you need guys that can transition in that way. And that's not necessarily like in Adam Fox. You need a good transition guy. And I think you're right, Keegan. Logan Stanley, you can be that guy. I think you can get strategic offense out of him on quick attack, which is the way that the Sharks are trying to construct the team.
We have some of the best transition puck carriers on our offense already. We don't really need a guy like Makar or Hughes or Fox to really carry the puck for us. We really need Celebrini and Smith and Eklund and those guys who are really good at carrying the puck anyway to do it. So that's just the way that the team has been. It's not like we lead from behind in Colorado. A lot of times, yes, McKinnon does it, but Makar also is getting to the line and making the play a lot. So, but that's not the Sharks. The Sharks are not that kind of team where, pass or dump it, that kind of thing. So it's not
I want to say
lead from defense.
That that's actually one of Vincent Iorio's kind of underrated abilities. That he's actually a very good first pass, very good in transition.
Yep.
Scouts have told me that. We've seen that too. And actually, what Vince is missing is a little bit of, he's got to be a little harder defensively, but he has the frame for it though. And so if you wondered why the Sharks were so insistent on keeping Iorio on the roster and keeping him, keeping 9 defensemen, including him around, that's the tool set that they see with him, that they're hoping, gets a little nastier on defense. And you can learn that too. JD talked about Logan Stanley. He's learned that to be mean. And so maybe he needs a little more meanness, but he has the frame to do it. And he has the transition ability, that part of it. And for a guy who is 6'4" himself, Iorio, and he's right-handed. So
yeah, he seems like the natural, if Lil Chagrin is let go this summer, seems like his kind of replacement. Just both good transition guys and little younger, still room to grow, kind of, maybe, if that's the way to go.
Sam Dickinson's a perfect example of what the Sharks are looking for and why they went with Sam. He fits exactly that profile we're talking about, if he projects out to what they want, right? Like that's, the writing was on the wall all along of what the construction of this defense he would like to see, I think.
Yeah.
And I think
even Mukumadulin, picking Mukumadulin over, I don't know if Seamus Casey was available in that trade, but it sounds like he might have been. And Mukumadulin is a certain, even though Casey looks like he might be, but we don't know. But
Simon Wang.
Just the tools though, right? Yeah. So
skating,
Haoxi Wang, yeah.
Yeah. So skating, right? Physical toolkit, length. And then obviously transition. And that
if we're doing Prospects Corner, Haoxi Wang's my prospect of the week. So
yeah.
If we're doing it this week, I don't know if we are, but I think we got time, right?
Are you ready? Do you want to do you want to
Yeah.
do you have
Let's get into it. You got
anything
any
else,
music?
with Mike's availability or the
Oh my
games
God.
Florida, Tampa, New York? Anyone have anything before we get to the music?
Just one last point on the New York game.
Yeah.
You know, I think what you saw in that first period, I know you were talking about the crowd and all of that, and those are all great things, but I also saw a checked out New York Rangers. That was like, we're not blocking shots, we're not protecting the slot. Like,
Yeah.
let's go. Like, we're just playing.
Well,
hockey.
you got to jump on a team like that, right? Yeah. Because if you give them life,
yes,
if you get them like, right,
Correct.
they're going to get into it because they're like, okay,
Yeah, they're
we can
competitive
play our
in each
skillsy
other's-
game. We can, yeah. So.
Yeah, but they looked very checked out. Like, I think the statement made by the Rangers, you can see that, like, that's going to affect players and their commitment to a team. And I think that's probably why the timeout was called, was like, hey guys, get in this. Like, but it's just an interesting observation where you see a team like, I mean, you saw the Sharks when they were checked out, like, as you called it, when they waved their white flag at the end of like the last two seasons. You kind of see it. And you saw that with the Rangers last night.
Yeah, for sure. A team that looks like a team that had a letter sent out about them a week ago.
Yeah,
like that's the best way to put it. It's like
I think it might be out there, but I also heard from people I trust that just basically anybody that does not have a no movement, no trade is available. And so I don't know if you guys watched Schneider or anybody in particular last night who scouted anybody on the Rangers, but if they don't have a clause, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen some of Braden Schneider, but I would need to do like a full on thing about him to really give a good report on him. But yeah, and then I know there's a ton of rumors about Panarin to the Sharks just because Friedman mentioned it.
That's just like speculation.
He
Even
was
like
just
the way
having
Friedman
fun.
said it. Yeah.
So I know you guys probably talked about that too, but it just seems like a pipe dream. And also, we're not giving like a bunch of good prospects for a UFA to be or a first round pick.
That's one of those, like, if you're a player away, then maybe you make that trade. But Sharks aren't a player away, and they know that.
Colorado or Vegas or Florida or who knows or Minnesota wants to get another like superstar up front because they're having a good run.
Yeah.
Vegas will trade their 2033 first round pick for Panarin.
Right. Yeah, right. They have like what, Trevor Connolly and like who else?
Their 2040 first round pick for Panarin. Promise, under the table promise to James Dolan. We'll give you our 2040 first round pick unprotected for Panarin.
Yeah, I promise, buddy. And like $20 and a piece of candy,
and some and some chips at Circa Vegas.
Yeah, so that's who he's going to go to. He probably won't go to the Sharks unless they like bought it, like they don't have a deal in the very end and want to take something. But they'll get something. And
they'll get something.
A place like Minnesota will want to. The reason I'm talking about Minnesota is I watched them the other night, and man, Hughes is so fucking fun with that team. I just didn't expect it. It's such a great fit there. And
are you on board with me where I think they can make the cup?
I think so. West. The West is so the West is so crazy. Like no, I think you're right. Like there's a lot of good teams, but the West is so, I guess besides Colorado, they have to get through Colorado in some way.
Well, it'd be Dallas first, right? Because assuming Colorado wins the division, so they have to be Dallas first, which is huge.
And I can see that happening. And again, a lot of that is not only their first line D pairing, which is unreal, but then it's also Eriksson Ek and the depth of that team, like all the way down to their fourth line. Like that team is deeper than you think. I think they're sneaky good.
Yeah.
And I think they can upset.
They probably need
Colorado.
another center, though, don't you think?
I don't think so. I think they're built.
No,
strong.
because I understand that's really good,
roles.
but
they have good role players. I think if you get match pairings, I think you have enough scoring power, great defensive core. I think that you have competent third and fourth lines that can hold their own against most teams in this league, including Colorado and Dallas. I think they can sneak.
It'd be an interesting way because it's not the traditional we need a number one center kind of thing. Eriksson is doing really well. Right. But they're leading from Kaprizov and from Hughes.
Yep.
So it'd be interesting.
Boldy's having a great season.
Yep.
Yeah.
They have such a good D.
I love watching that team.
Yeah, jealous of their defensive depth. It is insane. Like Middleton, who we know is a good player, is like their fifth, sixth best defenseman, something like that. And he's, playing 16, 17
That's
minutes a night, doing well.
good problem to have. Yep.
Yeah. So
I skated with Middleton in our Tuesday morning skates when he was still with the Sharks, like a private skate, and we had this funny moment where he was on the bench, and the way we play on Tuesday mornings is you got to score 5 goals, and we have the goalie switch every 5 goals, like whoever gets to 5 first. And Middleton's on the bench, and like he's just flying out there, right? Like he's just like floating, and we're going full tilt. He's just, the timing of pros when you play with him is just like kind of unreal. And so he's just floating out there, and he's on the bench. He's like, "You guys play till 5, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's 5." And then we switch goalies. Like, "Oh, okay, I'll take care of that." And we were at 4. He goes out. Someone gives him like a sloppy pass entering the zone. One-timer, perfect snipe right in the net. And he's not known for that, right? Like that's not his game, but like just how good pros are when you play with them. And then there was another funny moment where he could have buried me in the boards. Like we were coming in and I was winning a puck battle. I actually stole it off of him. But we're playing like a Tuesday morning friendly game. He's just out there to get his legs moving. And then Middleton was like, I put myself in a position where I was like, if this is the NHL, I'd be dead right now. Like I'm coming in under him and he's just a tower, right? Like I'm not a big guy. And he's like a tower.
Just crumble.
And I'm like, I squeak like, please don't kill me. And he just started laughing so hard because he knew it was a friendly game, but I was in the position where if this was in the NHL, I'd be dead. Like he could have just pummeled me.
Yeah, you'd be like 30 feet the other way or in the boards.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love it. All right.
Hit the music, DJ.
I'm going to hit the music. You ready?
Yes.
Keegan's Prospect Corner. Keegan's Prospect
The lamest dancing.
Yeah.
Keegan's Prospect Corner.
Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, we have 2 prospects as we do. We have Ivar Stenberg, and we have Haoxi Wang. Apologize for pronunciation on both of those accounts. Maybe they're wrong or right, but what do you guys want to start with? Which one?
Let's go Stenberg first.
All right. So the reason why I chose Stenberg is I've seen a lot of Stenberg this year, the World Juniors and before that, and even in the World Junior Summer Showcase. And I've liked him a lot, but I think people are starting to get the maybe Stenberg is number 1 after the World Juniors, which I put him at number 1 right after that tournament as well, just given the direct comparison with him and McKenna, their seasons, their play at the World Juniors. It felt like Stenberg had moved ahead. I still think that. I do wonder if McKenna had a hat trick last night. If he goes on a tear, if people are going to be like, oh, okay, well, maybe McKenna just needed some time to adjust to the college game and people will move him out. But as of now, when I've seen Stenberg, I've never been disappointed with his game. And that's the first thing about watching a player, especially at a pro level, is are they playing the game and do they look at that level? And watching him in the SHL, never been disappointed, the games that I've seen. And it's honestly a little surprising because SHL is a very tough league. And he has such a effortless ability to adapt to the play at that level that it's something that's not seen. Like the biggest thing that I can say is that his offensive IQ and his hockey sense is probably his best attribute. He knows how to move the play around the offensive zone, that he's a super effective cycle forward for a guy that's like probably 6 foot. He has some physicality. He's a little stocky, but he's not big. But he's such an effective puck handler and mover up the puck that he plays such an NHL style already that I think he's plug and play next year. Wherever he's going to go, he's going to move into a top 9 role and then just get better from there in the NHL. He's a point a game in the SHL. It's rare as well. I want to mention that, like, for people who don't follow prospects, it's super rare to be that above the play in the SHL. I watched Eklund in the SHL as well. Eklund was good and he made a lot of plays and had great playmaking, but there were times when Eklund was getting, bodied physically and just was behind the play at some times. It wasn't like he was always ahead of the play. Stenberg's like leading his team and being such a force that at times even like Leo Carlson would not be effective. Stenberg's just like straight efficiency, effectiveness in the offensive zone. Like the way that juniors creates offense is generally like off the rush, you're trying to get a 2-on-1, you're going for the cross ice snipe, and that's like all of junior hockey, or breakaways, or the defender fumbles the puck and you like that's junior hockey. SHL is more NHL style with a little bit of a bigger rink, but it's all about fluidity and movement and how to bait defenders in, move the puck to somewhere else where the open man is, and then create disadvantages on offense, or advantages on offense where you have more guys than they do in certain scenarios, right? And he does that so well. That's like every play is how do I get this puck into a better position to score? Coupled that with like above average skating, good puck handling, a great wrister, and like I said, just really, really high IQ. I think that he really could go number one as a winger and as a 6-foot winger as well. So it's kind of a strange draft in that we thought McKenna might be like the next superstar based on his production, but the way that he plays isn't as like directly translatable to the NHL, whereas Stenberg feels so translatable in a way that a team is going to take him top 2 and be very happy, I think, with his play. So I really like Ivar Stenberg, or Ivar. I don't know how to say this first name. People have pronounced it both ways when I've listened. But yeah, I really like him. He reminds me of, and I tried to look for comps in the NHL, and that one's tough. I'm still going to work on that. But for recent scouting memory, he looks like Zach Benson did in the WHL, but bigger with a better shot and a little quicker as well. So like a better, toolsier Zach Benson. A little less creative, I think, than Benson was in the WHL, but it's also like he's playing against, pros and looking great. So no reservations. If he keeps up his pace, he's going to be on track with like Daniel Sedin for most ever points of SHL prospect. So he might beat him, and he already has like point a game in the SHL. So
I was talking to somebody though, not Craig Button, but somebody who was at World Juniors, and but made a similar point to as Craig Button did, that McKenna, his kind of his ceiling is just so much or significantly higher than a lot of, I mean, even Stenberg too, even though Stenberg is doing it against men.
Yeah.
And so that's what the person I talked with last week, his point too, was just like, yeah, McKenna's still number one all day for him, despite World Juniors not being the best, despite Stenberg's SHL production.
Yeah, that's a very good point too. And you see the specialness with McKenna that it's tough because I think the specialness in Stenberg is very mundane. The specialness is the ability to cycle, the ability to read the play, get into great positioning. It's not the flashiness, right? He has some flash. He's got great handling. He can transition well and get to the line, cut through defenders, and do all the stuff. But McKenna has that like eyes in the back of his head, playmaking ability that he's going to be a very good power play and very good offensive force, kind of like, better Will Smith, right? And that's the thing is like, do you take the like super high upside, but right now there are some struggles and maybe doesn't have that complete game, or do you take the complete player or more complete player that's doing it now, that has like all the tools that he needs to succeed? And this is also the like Capo Caco versus Jack Hughes debate, or like the, Nico Hischier and Nolan Patrick debated. And sometimes the Patrick and the Caco loses out, and then you look like an idiot. So, but maybe Stenberg is that one. Yeah, that's what I mean. But sometimes they don't, and these guys like can, as historic as McKenna's season was last year, Stenberg's season this year is just as historic. So it's like, if we're counting on recency, Stenberg's been better and looks more complete, and he just doesn't have that like specialness that McKenna does. And I totally agree with that statement that, Reds are where you draft. But, again, I'm going to keep watching them between the two. They're 1 and 2 for me, though. It's like everybody else, I think that there's still more to come. Like there was that, like Corey put out that Tynan Lawrence was going to be number 1, and so it was like 3 months ago. I think he's probably backed off of that. I haven't checked to see if he put out a new ranking, but the specialness with these two players, I think, puts them, even though they're both wingers, as the 1 and 2. Just depends on who you want. And
well,
go
oh,
ahead.
I was gonna say. Anyway, we're talking about the Sharks are going to make the playoffs,
No.
and so they're not going to.
None of this matters. No. Here's the fun part. Edmonton.
Yes.
No, wait. Is it, unless it's top 10 protected? It's probably lottery protected.
No, it's protected. It's protected.
Damn it.
It's protected.
Damn it.
Even Edmonton.
I was going to say.
Everyone has learned from the Eric Carlson, Doug Wilson trades.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway,
2 questions on him, because I know McKenna's issue is like got a couple of concerns outside of his offensive creativity, of course, which is like elite. But he's not really good on the walls. I know, as a winger is super important, and also his he doesn't have a good tendency of playing through contact.
yes.
Is that something Stenberg has over him? Like how's his wall play? Yeah, okay,
Much better. He's much more able to keep the puck and absorb pressure than McKenna is.
okay.
And just the level difference as well, and he's still doing that fine. I'm not even though again he's not like big, but he is stocky. Like he's got some build to him. Even if he's not the biggest guy, Stenberg. But yeah, for sure, I think his physical play is more advanced than McKenna's. So
Okay.
that'll attract an NHL GM as well, is that he's able to get into the corners and do that kind of work. We'll see. McKenna is hard to pass up on, though, as the number 1. I think I was listening to yesterday I think it's called the Called Up podcast with Chris Peters and Cam Robinson. They were talking about Stenberg as well.
Yeah.
I think it's called Called Up. Anyway, I
I'll
don't want to
look it up,
misquote
but
them.
yeah. There are buddies. Yeah, both of them.
Yeah,
So.
and they do a lot of prospect work, and they were saying like maybe this is the year that you want number 2, right? Like this isn't the year that you want number 1.
Make the decision.
You don't have to make the decision. It's like whoever, like if you make the mechanic crawl and he never really kind of rounds out his game, he will. I think it'll be fine. But
Yeah.
there's just so much history with these kind of guys that they figure
Called
it out.
up. Yeah.
Called up.
Called up. You're right. Yeah.
But yeah, like the number 2 is like, well, you get a very good player and a player that seems NHL ready, and I think he's going to play in the NHL next year. I wouldn't have I think a team is going to put him, even if he's number 2 instead of number 1. I think he will, or number 3, or whatever happens, But this is also dependent on how the rest of his season goes, which has been going great since the World Juniors. But he's got to continue to show that he is the man. And he started off on a 3rd line, and now he's moved all the way up and is playing 15, 16, 17 minutes a night in the SHL. Point a game player, that is rare to see. Like watching the SHL and guys like Leo Carlson and Eklund and Bstat when he was in the NHL, it's rare to see a guy that's like, this is second nature to him. Like just how easily he can play this game. So I'm super excited about him, but not as excited as I am about Haoxi Wang. Well, I mean, I am. I guess I'm more excited about Haoxi Wang because we have him as a prospect, and I don't think we're ever going to have Ivar Stenberg as a prospect. But Wang is super interesting. I watched games of his after he got traded to Niagara, and man, I don't even know how to preface this. I'm going to pull up my notes because like it is still the strangest and hardest projection I think I've ever seen of a player. Like he has such good skating that is it's intimidating. Like he moves into space so well that like watching him move to places, you go, holy shit, there's a guy that's 6'5", just moved with the puck to that spot. Like that's dangerous. Like even if he doesn't have the puck, he filled that gap into that place really quickly. And like if he got to the net front or if he got to the wall and like did something with it there, it's very dangerous. And I think that's the enticing aspect offensively, is that his frame and his mobility, it's rare to see in juniors for sure. And then everything else is kind of like this just massive work in progress. I will say his shot blocking is very good. His ability to get into space and block lanes is very good for, you would imagine, as a guy that's 6'6", whatever, how tall he is, 6'5", 6'6". But he really kind of emphasizes like being that shot blocker, like more so than a lot of defensemen in the OHL. So it looks, it looks pretty natural for him to break up plays. The game I saw, he was second pairing, but also played power play and penalty kill. So he was getting all three deployments, which is very interesting. So I like the shot blocking. I like that he gets back to the net front. He tries to battle up front. He's got some physicality to him. When a guy's on the boards, he will go up to them, muck it up, try and tie up his man and slow the game down, right? Like just make it a muck fest defensively. Then, and I think the last thing positively I could say is that when he gets a slap shot off, it's a rocket. Like he's massive. When he gets wood on that puck, it is a rocket. But it doesn't always get good contact. And then also he does have some good breakouts. So he will, when he gets the puck in the high defensive zone, he's gonna scan, he's gonna wait and try and find a good pass to his forwards, and he pretty good at that. Like couple misses, but overall wants to transition the puck. So I liked all of that. Then it's just everything else. Like I said, his slapper, when he tries to get a shot off, he will frequently miss. He'll whiff. When he tries to get a wrister, he will whiff. When he doesn't have like time to wind up, or when he needs to get the puck on net, he has to really move his whole frame rather than just like using the power of his stick to get the puck on net. It's just the mechanics are very strange with how he shoots, how he can cradle the puck. And if there's any pressure when he's trying to shoot, it's not going to come off. Like it will go somewhere else, or it won't get to the net, or it'll get poked away. So, and he whiffs a lot. And he whiffs on hard passes too. He has to really concentrate on his passes. It is interesting because like normally players, when they get to this level and they are drafted in the second round, a whiff is rare, right? Like a I can't pass this puck or I can't shoot this puck is rare. And his is very frequent. Not that it just means that he needs a lot more reps on that kind of thing, shooting reps, shooting under pressure. The other thing that I think that is a more rep thing is that his, despite being massive, holding on to the puck is very difficult for him in the defensive zone. So if he picks up the puck, someone pressures him, he will get stripped of the puck pretty easily. And it's not, or if he's holding onto the puck and he's trying to get away from a guy, he will just keep turning and turning until he runs out of room and then gets stripped of the puck. Because he doesn't know where to put the puck when he gets it in the defensive zone. His retrievals are pretty poor if it's like him on a 50-50 puck or if he's got the puck first, because he loses it so frequently. He's pretty good about like getting the puck off of other players by just ramming into them and mucking it up and that kind of thing. But it's more about the other side of the retrievals when he actually has to do something with the puck, or when he has to go 50-50, that he just doesn't. He loses the puck way too much for a guy his size, and doesn't make a decision quickly enough. And then lastly, my biggest gripe, and I think the thing that like is so telling of where he is as a player, is that his positioning when he doesn't have the puck is very poor. So when he, especially in the defensive zone, when his defensive partner is like going to go pick up the puck in the corner, instead of opening his body up, letting the D partner pass to him, or skating up ice or moving off to the wall or something, he'll just continue to skate towards his own partner who's picking up the puck. And you're like, no, you need to create space. He's picking up the puck. You need to get and be an outlet, right? And he doesn't. He just continually skates into his defensive partner. Or if his goalie is trying to like corral a puck that's bouncing to him or whatever, I saw him skate directly into his goalie trying to corral a puck. And you're like, no, just let him do his thing. Don't stop trying to move. Like he's just getting his massive frame into space that it shouldn't be in. He needs to like think about that player doing the right thing and passing to him, and then what he needs to do after it. And he's like 2 steps behind that, and he just keeps following the puck rather than trying to get where he needs to be. So that's my biggest thing to tell him is like, when your D partner is touching the puck, go somewhere else. Like don't go towards him, go somewhere else, open your body up, receive a pass. That's D101 and also like something he really needs to work on right now. So
I'm just trying to imagine the hilarity of putting him with like Alex Nedeljkovic or Askarov right now.
Oh God, it would just be like fucking chaos. It would be chaos, man. Like, and these are all like, and the interesting thing is like, if you try and picture a 6'6", like lane clogging, block shots, good passer, has a booming slap shot that can skate like the wind, you're like, is this dude Zdeno Chara, right? Like, is this dude like, Chara's bigger than that, but like, you know what I mean? Like, but there's so much of like the basic hockey things that you don't see with this level of prospect that it's kind of crazy. It's fun to watch. Like, I think things are improving. I really did think that there's like little steps here, and offensively, I thought he had some good instincts. And I also do like his like rush defense at some points. He can keep up with his man, obviously, and can get things over to the boards and doesn't get beat too easily off the rush. It's just like, I think a lot of smarter players, and this isn't, I was playing against Barrie, doesn't have an amazing team, but a decent team. And then like, there's not a lot of like superstars in there. Like, smarter players would just tear him apart because they know that he's not going to make the right moves, and they can just strip it off of him or just bait him into something and go the other way. And yeah, so he needs a lot of work. I am super intrigued because it's like going to be like this 3-5 year process to watch him. And I'm just going to keep trying to figure out the things that he's improving on. And even in the prospect tournament, like the spacing was such an issue. And I don't know if you guys remember it, but like,
Yeah.
he would kept losing the puck like right in places. You're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You need to be not there. And he keeps doing that. So something's got to change with that.
I haven't seen as much of him this
Mhm.
season, but in the beginning of the season, I was watching a little bit, and I agree with everything that you've seen. The one thing that I think is interesting, though, is, well, two things. Number one, like, I don't know because I haven't seen him recently for the last like 2 months or so, but his passes were like, his mechanics with passing, like he was throwing muffins
Yeah, like
everywhere.
there's just this very strange mechanic.
And I think with that, and then also, your observation is very keen on like how he puts the puck in weird places. And I'm wondering if it's like you're 18 and you're 6'6". That growth spurt is so quick. And a lot of these like really fast growing large players have to relearn their mechanics. Like your position changes when you're 5'10" versus 6'2" versus 6'6". Like you have to relearn your mechanics. Your stick length is changing. Your edge work is changing. And a lot of it is, and he's a great skater, but I feel like he's just sort of growing into learning his body is kind of what I see. Right. And so I'm hoping those mechanics come out, but the like stick work and stuff is so raw. Like I've never seen a guy like even in juniors, like throw muffins like that on passes.
Yeah.
Where they're just like flutter pucks like constantly.
He really has to focus on it to get a good hard pass.
Yeah.
Like it's like a, like literally these little flutter pucks. And then, like I said, the wristers, when he tries to get a wrister off, is like, needs a lot of like lurching of his whole body to really get a good wrister. It's when he gets a slapper off, though, that thing will cook. But it's just, that's, it's the trade-off. I agree. I think a lot of it is growing into that frame. And seeing, I wish, and this is going to sound like I have no hope for him. I wish there was a little bit more raw hockey sense as well, because I think
maybe
that's the thing that I'm not seeing a ton of just yet. There's some transition sense, and like he moves into good space in the offensive zone sometimes and looks threatening, but I think that the raw sense of the game isn't there for what I would hope to be like this guy, if you do figure it all out, could be special because the sense is there too. So we'll see though. He is a very cool project for a second round pick on a team that could definitely could definitely just spend the next 5 years trying to develop him and turn him into something. And he's improved offensively. He's got up a lot more points this year, and he's contributing more. And I like that his team was just like, you know what? You're 6'6", you're this big. We're gonna put you on the penalty kill. We're gonna put you on the power play. Try to make slappers and try to go, man.
So one other thing that I saw from him when I was watching, which I liked, that is to your point of like how he would lose the puck a lot, especially in the zone. He just puts the puck like it feels like in between his feet a lot when he gets stripped. But once he gets stripped, he like gets angry.
Yeah, he gets pissed.
he gets pissed. And I love players that have that,
Mhm.
like, hey, what the fuck? Like, you
Yeah.
know, and then he comes back like with this, you could see this like aggression
Yes.
where he's like, you strip the puck from him. He's mad at, it looks like he's mad at himself. He's like, I'm going to get it back. And I see
Mhm.
him get the puck back because he has that
Mhm.
reach a couple of times. And so the recovery, I think, is great
Yes.
too. Of like,
Yeah.
did you watch? Yeah, he does that
Yeah,
a
I would
lot.
say that too. He will be pissed when he loses the puck in the defensive zone.
yeah.
He'll go back and like just skate towards that guy and hit him against the boards and be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
it's mine again."
Yeah,
So
exactly.
a lot of plays get slowed down like that. Like it just kind of goes in this little cycle of that. But yeah, players that can move the puck immediately after stripping him, it's like, oh well, it's gone, and then he'll retreat to the net front and just kind of go back into this like stance of I'm waiting for the shot kind of thing, which is good. It just that part needs to be improved for sure. His decision making once he gets the puck.
And so,
Such a fun player, man.
right? I know. I'm excited for it, and he falls in that same profile. And again, I think that the other thing that we've talked about before is Mike Grier and company target certain attributes of people, and I think one of those is like just a passion for hockey
Mhm.
and those character guys. And again, they've identified him as one of those people and his
Yep.
story and his narrative. And you know what? With the right opportunity and resources, we can get you through the hockey sense and some of the
Yep.
mechanical issues and that belief. And so that's why I really like it. And that toolkit's rare and I love it. So
I have no I'm not like any more or less up or down on the pick. I think it's like it was a good swing when they got it. They got Ravensburgen and they got Misa. They felt comfortable
Yeah.
with that, and then McKinney is also like a pretty, I won't call him safe, but a good bet for a future guy for the team. So yeah, I think they were just like, somebody's going to take him between our next pick, between the next second round pick. So we've got to pick him now, or else he's gone. And they liked him, and fun pick for sure.
So
Just
Keegan,
not their normal.
I got a request for next week's prospect.
Okay. Yep.
Nolan Allen.
Nolan Allen. All right.
Oh, that's
Okay.
a good one.
So the reason I think he's interesting is because Grier mentioned him in availability
He did.
this
Yeah,
week.
Grier
It's like,
actually went out of his way to mention him because he was asked about calling up Luka or Jack Thompson and why the Sharks haven't.
Mhm.
And Mike said you could also include Nolan Allen in that bucket of a prospect too.
Yeah.
He wasn't asked about Nolan Allen. So a lot of times, like, just what I listen for in talking with Warsofsky or Mike Grier is what they say that you didn't ask them about.
exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
And you can tell so much by what they insert into the conversation that they want out there.
And this is on us at San Jose Hockey
Mhm.
Now. We didn't mention Regenda on his way up.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want to miss out on what that might be because we should have had eyes on Regenda.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, let's check out Nolan Allen. I think fans listening, we'll get Keegan on it and we'll report back next week.
Yeah, sounds good. I was looking for somebody. It was going to be Nolan Allen, maybe Haltonen, but he's not doing too much just yet. So yeah, we'll look at Nolan Allen. That sounds good.
Thanks, guys. Another week of Sharks hockey.
And
Well,
we still
maybe
have
next
the-
week you'll pass the Rubicon.
Maybe. God, a couple more wins.
Yeah.
Couple more wins, couple more losses from like LA and Anaheim and Utah and Seattle and all those teams that need to lose. Yeah, maybe. See you guys.
Bye.